wearing, diamond ring wearing, kiss stealing, willing dealing, limo jet flying. We Ric Flairin' on us, flaring on us. We Ric Flairin' on us, flaring on us. Rolex wearing, diamond ring wearing, kiss stealing, willing dealing, limo jet flying. We Ric Flairin' on us, flaring on us. We Ric Flairin' on us, flaring on us. It's apparent these girls staring. I'm Ric Flairin', gold across my chest. I'm fresh to death, I'm Paul Bearing. Not at all scary. One eye open like Betty Wops and fine to these Urkels that's going in like a carry shot. Woo! I'm going in like a Mary Pop off that Mary Crop at the top flow at the Marriott. So questioning me is like questioning you. See, we the best dressed, so come and get blessed with the crew. Not one but two, different ways to slaughter your crew. Committed tat across the chest, I guess she blessed with the truth. People want to see them checks, representation of proof. Living through my elders, trying to resonate to the youth. But ain't nothing to get my flash on. Longevity is heavily embedded in my melanin. Layman terms, I last long. My grind repetitive, I'm smoother than real silk. Lyrical cash cow, who can't cry over spilled milk. We in here. You're talking to the Rolex wearing, diamond ring wearing, kiss stealing, willing dealing, limo jet flying. We Ric Flairin' on us, flaring on us. We Ric Flairin' on us, flaring on us. The Rolex wearing, diamond ring wearing, kiss stealing, willing dealing, limo jet flying. We Ric Flairin' on us, flaring on us. We Ric Flairin' on us, flaring on us. This ain't no normal situation, this preparation with greatness. Industry full of fakeness is really up for the taking. See, life is what happened to you, more so how you take it. Don't get stripped of your knowledge and mentally leave you naked. I like to live otherwise. I'm sorry that I'm fresh to death. I put the polo and apologize. See, black son, we ain't nothing like the mother guys. Quit to socialize, we organize, then we mobilize. Off the deep end like a scuba diver. And no confusion, just keep it pushing like Uber drivers. Woo! Business fresh just like a supervisor in a Gucci visor. Can't find a smoother rhymer. You're talking to the Rolex wearing, diamond ring wearing, kiss stealing, willing dealing, limo jet flying. We Ric Flairin' on us, flaring on us. We Ric Flairin' on us. You talking to the Rolex wearing, diamond ring wearing, kiss stealing, willing dealing, limo jet flying. We Ric Flairin' on us, flaring on us. We Ric Flairin' on us, flaring on us.
Yeah, DQ baby. Shout out that boy Nigga for that fire track. Hey, Black Sun, sun up. What's up, Vinny Vegas? What in Vegas? Yeah. Shout out Pharaoh's Kids, D-Phase, yeah, Bubba C, yeah, Ric Flairin' on them, Ric Flairin' on them, Ric Flairin' on them, Ric Flairin' son up, baby.
Hey yo, Scotty, we back. Appreciate you for reaching out. I'm like, hey, it's Outspoken. A lot changed, granted the concept we still hosting. Giving you the fix you need when on the screen. The veteran, Captain Petty, giving you medicine. Come tap in, you know Scott gon' do what he do. Might not want to hear it, but here go the hard truth. Perry about the numbers, regret if you're not fact-based. When you run your lane, the numbers seem like a statue. Wait. Hey, Scotty, man, I'm not feeling it. I don't think the people feeling it. Let me get in my bag a little bit, just showing what this Outspoken really about to be like. Outspoken, this is more than conjecture. These days they laying people off, so glad that we got our own. Hunger insatiable, made for you if you say you objective. Hard truth offering, no offense, just perspective. Come get your dosage and go with me. We spit it like poetry. The pivot was pivotal, could rhyme here, but I'd rather not. Some say Scotty, some call him Scott, the best one since Stewart. If you know, then you know, but if you don't, then you're lost. Let me be frank for a minute, cause we all know that's how Perry be. Breaking down the game for what it was, no apologies. This my hypothesis, you tune in, you like watching it. It's common sense, obvious, competent, rugged, and confident. Hey, we outspoken. We outspoken. We outspoken. This is Outspoken, and we gon' put on a show, even if we hear you say I can't. It's Outspoken.
Hey, back. I think we got another one. They ain't think we can do it, but we still here. Season 3. It's Outspoken. What is going on, everybody? It's your boy Scotty. You already know it is Monday night. We might as well call it a Rattler Monday. You already know we in the place to be, and it could be no other better day without having it with my brother from another. Give it up for my boy, Hey White. Sound like some singing to me. Sound like some bad singing.
Don't start that tonight. let's get off on the right path tonight, Scotty.
I surely will, man. What's going on with you?
What's up with it?
Oh, man, chill out. You know, I had a great weekend, man.
Yeah, you feeling real rattlerish, aren't you?
Yeah, man. You know, I don't really like the strike thing. That's a little weird, but I do feel like I could strike somebody at any moment. You know what I'm saying? Try me if you won't. Try me if you want to, because it feels good when you're right. When you can come on here and say, hey, I told you so. Ain't nothing better. Oh, ain't nothing better. I told you so.
Bask in the ambience, brother. Bask in the ambience.
I was this close. I was this close. My numbers would have hit, boy. If it wasn't for Musa and that pick six, boy, that day was looking real good.
I saw you going a little crazy early on some people, man. You were going a little crazy early.
I don't know why people I don't know why people do that. I think, like, you know, sometimes it's like punching in your weight class. You know what I'm saying? Some people you just gotta stay in your weight class. And I'm not in a lot of people's weight class, but you know, I digest. But I wanna, before we get started, I gotta give a shout out today, because you know I do a little hot and viral, but I gotta give a shout out to this Yaylee right here. Happy birthday, Mick Sykes. Listen, she been a day one down for OFFSCRIPT, down for me and my family. I want to give her all the kudos for today. Today is her birthday, and we gonna hit it like with a little bit like this. Can I get a 1, a 2, a 3?
I wanna say happy birthday to you.
Hey.
I wanna say happy birthday to you. I wanna say happy birthday to you. I wanna say happy birthday to you. Let's go. Close your eyes and make that wish. Think about it and blow out your candles. Close your eyes and make that wish. Think about it and blow out your candles. Close your eyes and make that wish. Think about it and blow out your candles. Close your eyes and make that wish. Let's go. Think about it. Check it. Blow out your candles. Happy birthday, fellas.
Yeah, so I want to give a happy birthday to Miss Kenya Sykes.
My bad. She made me get up. I had to get the red cup for her.
Oh, okay, that's right. I still got some more.
I had to get the solo cup for her.
It's about to get crazy. Grown up babies. Everybody's on the list. Now scream your name, scream your age. It's time to make that wish. Happy birthday to you. I wanna say happy birthday to you. I wanna say happy birthday to you. I wanna say happy birthday. Let's go. 1, 2, 3, go.
Gotta give her happy birthday to Miss Sykes, man. Listen, she's been a day one for day ones we even thought of. Thank you so much, Miss Sykes, for your support for the channel. And I mean, you couldn't ask for a better birthday. Celebration Bowl champ, got your jersey signed by all the players. I mean, come on, man.
Let's do a cheers in the chat. Cheers to everybody in the chat. Cheers to everybody in the chat.
Absolutely. And if it's your birthday as well, go ahead and bask in the ambiance of a Rattler day. All right, go ahead and bask in that ambiance.
Sagittarius season, baby. Sagittarius season.
What is a Sagittarius anyway?
You look it up and you'll figure it out.
I don't know what to say. I don't know.
Yeah, don't disrespect. You do all that high, and then you're gonna try to kill it and go to a low. You supposed to be like, yeah.
I don't know what a Sagittarius is. I don't know. It's either Scorpio. See the Scorpio. I know what a Libra is. You know, they do the balance of scales, but it's really just it begins and ends with Scorpios. You know what I'm saying? Because let me explain to you why it begins.
We don't need no explanation. You had your season. This is our season. You spoiling our season. You just did all the happy birthday, and you said shout out your birthday. It's our season, Sagittarius season. Can we at least have our moment? Can we have our moment?
I'm just saying.
It ain't got nothing to do with a Scorpio. The dry season over with. Yeah. Thank you. Come on, Scotty. Don't do us like that.
I'm gonna let it go. Next time.
Woo, boy, I tell you.
Next time. We gonna revisit this. Not today though. It's your season. I'm gonna let you have it.
Thank you. You about to bring up the whole history. You know what a Scorpio is, right? You know where they live at, right? You know what countries they in. Like, don't do us like that, Scotty.
It's your season. I'll let y'all rock. I mean, I just said nobody knows what Sagittarius is. That's all I said.
You know what it is.
What? Okay. I'm just saying. I don't know what it's at.
You ain't never dated a Sagittarius woman?
Not never. Now my dad's a Sagittarius because he's a December, but I still don't know what that is.
December the what?
22nd.
Oh shit. He I don't know what the cutoff date, but he right there.
And my mom's an Aquarius. So anyway.
When is that?
I don't know. I think January. My mom's birthday. January. Listen, it begins and ends with Scorpios.
I think Capricorns in January too. They
That's
like
what
the
I'm
end of
saying.
December going into January.
What is a Cap? Nobody knows what these signs are. Did you not hear the Tyree song? I met a Scorpio. Oh, she had no limit to where she go. Oh yeah, and she was so. It's Scorpios. It begins and ends with us. Why are we talking about like people don't know this, bro? Like people don't. You know what people say? As soon as you say you are a Scorpio, nobody says what is that or what month is that. They be like,
everybody knows what that insect is. That's all.
That's what I'm saying.
You just know it's an insect that'll sting. That's all. They don't know nothing about y'all traits and characteristics.
If I say one of these random signs, people will be like, what month is that? I don't even know.
They know what that is.
Look.
You acting like you don't because you trying to play us right now.
I'm just saying it's hard. I'm just saying nobody really knows what a Sagittarius is. That's all I'm saying. Listen. I'm gonna leave it alone. You said it's your season. I'm gonna leave it alone. I just wanted to. Happy birthday, Miss Sykes. Can we go back to the original point? Happy birthday, Miss Sykes. Okay.
I'm trying to celebrate with Miss Sykes because we fellow Sagittarius. That was the whole point. That's why I had to go get my red cup. I said, man, I didn't know her birthday was with my birthday. I didn't know we was doing this together. I didn't know we was all in this circle of trust of Sagittarius. You know what I'm saying? And then here you come. You know what? Since you mentioned that, here goes Scorpio. Scorpio was founded in, Scorpio.
That sound like more your, you know what I'm saying? You're the stat guy, you know what I'm saying? Scotty, if you didn't know, Scorpios are.
No, I'm not speaking on behalf of the Scorpios tonight.
I'm just saying, that's how you do. I'm just saying. Yeah. All right, let's get into today's show. A little hot and viral. And if you didn't know, now you know. I don't break news on off script. I just say word in the street, but this is breaking news. And it's really not breaking news. Let me give Coach Cole, Johnny Cole, his kudos. He called this like 2-3 weeks ago, right? He called me and told me and did it on the platform with my boy Rocky and said, hey, I have word that McNair is coming to Texas Southern. It's his job. That's what he said. It's his job if he wants it. And now today it has been confirmed that Lord have mercy, that Coach Fred McNair will be heading to Texas Southern. He will be taking his talents to Houston. What you got?
Well, look at it. Alcorn's going to have a press conference tomorrow morning, so everybody watch out for that. I think in this case, if you Fred McNair, let's just think about it, right? This was the last year of his contract. And if you're a guy who's won multiple SWAC coaching awards of the year, if you're a guy who won multiple SWAC championships at Alcorn, if you're a guy who's really continued to keep on the progression of what that program has been, why do you feel like you got to wait to the end of the year or the end of the season just to look at a contract extension, right? Typically, if a school puts you in that position, it kind of has you looking at them sideways. Now, when this story first broke with HBCU Sports putting it out there, both sides act like they didn't know what was going on, right? Texas Southern tried to act like, hey, right? Alcorn and Fred McNair acted like, hey. But somewhere down the line, I really want to know from Ken Richard and HBCU Sports, what was the conversations like for him to hit that click button and enter and to release that to the public? Because somewhere down the line, a conversation had to be had between Fred McNair and Texas Southern. If not, then who's on the Texas Southern side that wanted to put that out in the atmosphere? But I got to say, one of the biggest things that baffled me with this is Texas Southern has won the last 2 meetings against Alcorn. They beat Alcorn at Alcorn's homecoming, and they literally were the team that kept Alcorn from going to the SWAC championship this year. So if you're Texas Southern, what is it that you see in Fred McNair to want to go forward with him as your head coach when you had a coach that won the last 2 meetings? And if you're Alcorn now at this point, where do you go? Of course, Cedric Thomas' name has been mentioned. I've even heard Jay Hopkins' name being mentioned, right? So, and it could be some alums, past alums who have NFL ties to the program whose name could be mentioned with that. So I'm gonna be curious. I'm not gonna play that game like everybody else has been doing. I'm gonna wait and see how this thing turns out. I know Fred McNair and his family mean a lot for himself to Alcorn, and I would hate to see it end like this. But if that's the case, you know, it shows Alcorn, I guess, has reached a point of frustration or over it, if they what to say. It seems like they're kind of over this situation if they have not given him the contract extension at this point to keep him around.
All I'm going to say, and I'm going to say the same thing that I said to Southern when they let Dawson Odoms walk out the door. I said, you act like 8 to 9 win coaches grow on trees. And I'm not saying he's been 8 and 9 wins the last few seasons, because he hasn't. And from what I've heard, the only thing that saved him from getting fired and not even having a contract extension was the win over Jackson State, because they didn't make it to the championship game. Let me say this. I think Coach McNair is a great coach. I think he was a great fit at Alcorn. He bleeds purple and gold. I don't see the same success happening at Texas Southern. I just don't. I really just don't. And it doesn't make any more sense that the bad team that Texas Southern has been the last 2 years, well, not bad, but just like average, they beat Alcorn the same 2 years, just like you mentioned. So I don't understand the hire per se. I would like to see McNair in a situation where maybe it's a little bit more fruitful monetarily wise, but me personally, if you were getting paid $250, $260, and the reason you left to go to Texas Southern was to get $313, or I think they came back. I think Alcorn came back with a $275 or $280, but they weren't going to break $300. And then you're leaving Alcorn for Texas Southern for $313 with no state tax, by the way. Let's make that very clear. No state tax. I don't think it's worth it, me personally, but it ain't my paycheck. I don't see this working. I'm curious. I would love to see what he can do with a little bit more resources, not being in the middle of nowhere. But I don't know if that's a good fit personally. But I think we're all gonna be tuned in. I think it's definitely gonna be something to see.
And you want stability. I mean, when you look at Coach Odoms, he wanted stability in the years, right? What have I done for this program? What have you seen continuously with me keeping this program ahead of everybody else? And I think Fred McNair is now in that situation, and he should be able to be in that situation where he can tell them, hey, this is what I want. Match it. If not, I'm going to take my stability. Why sit around waiting on you playing around with me with 2-year contracts, right? When I can go over here and they're going to show that they're loyal and that regardless of what works out, I'm going to walk away with a paycheck.
I'm still gonna say this. You don't know what you had until it's gone, and it's just not easy to winning.
Tell me about it.
Winning and championship coaches just don't grow on trees, and I really don't understand how a guy that has you in the hunt every year, you do him the way that Alcorn has done him. Now, I know a lot of Alcornites will say, well, we've did this and we were doing this and we offered to let that contract go out, to let this man literally coach all the way to the final day of the guy. Like, I ain't never seen nothing like that. So to me, that just lets me know that you weren't 100% behind them when it happened. You get what I'm saying? So,
and Alcorn in a position where they got a lot of interims, right? I think they got an interim chancellor or president. They have an interim athletic director. So the overall leadership at Alcorn right now is in question on who's going to be there in the future. So you got yourself, if you're Alcorn, in a tough position to make decisions of people that you don't even know if they're going to be in those positions long term, right?
yeah. That's fair. All right, Pete. We'll get back to a little bit of high vibe, but I want to touch this topic real quick. Man! Now, I don't do numbers very well. But it looked like your boy won the battle of the pick'ems this year. We're going to have to get like a trophy or a belt or something. You know what I'm saying? Like, maybe I buy the belt and I give it to you, then you hand it back to me or something like that. I think that'd be really nice. What you think? What you think, Perry? Trophy, belt? What you thinking?
I'll give you a couple snaps.
Oh, that's some hating right there. That's absolutely hating. That's okay. It's okay. But
I ain't hating. I just snap for you. What
you hating though? You hating though? But it's okay. I get it.
We'll have to go back and look at the numbers now. I'm gonna have to put the people on there now. We have to go back and make sure we check all those. Yeah.
Hey, listen. Guys, you already know what it is. It's your boy Scotty. It's your boy Perry, Outspoken, here on this Monday. And we have a special guest in the building. I know. Willie going Willie can mean so many different things now. It can mean so many different things now. I'm so excited. Please give it up for today's special guest, swag champion, celebration bowl champion, Willie Simmons. What's up, coach? Come on, man.
What's good? What's good?
Nothing, champ. What's good, champ?
Oh man, just living the dream.
Living the dream, absolutely. Coach, man, I don't even know where to start, man. First of all, let me say I'm happy for you. I just want to say I'm happy for you, coach. Man, golly, man, you just with all the pressure, with all the expectations that came into the season to pretty much do it the best way possible, going perfect without, with outside of USF, but going perfect in the season. When you had the opportunity to raise that trophy up, what did that mean at that particular moment?
Oh man, words can't really describe it. There were so many emotions. My first thoughts always go to the players, the coaches, the support staff. Because I don't do this alone. Every day we walk in this building, we walk in with, no matter what kind of adversities hit us, what we're facing, they just roll their sleeves up and go to work. And the players are the same way, the support staff's the same way, and just to hold that trophy up was just a culmination of everybody just doing it, making it happen. We knew we had something special, but on paper, but you still got to go out there and play the game. And the guys played, they played their asses off, and man, it's a great feeling to be seen here as national champs.
Scotty, do I have a second to do my part in terms of talking about this game?
Absolutely. Go ahead. Break it down for us, P.
Let's break down the Celebration Bowl, a game to watch on ABC this past Saturday. My man, Willie Simmons, I saw you holding up the trophy. I saw you shotgun across your chest. I saw you with the shades on. I saw you in the building because where I was in the bar, coach, right? I didn't make it to Atlanta, but I had the bar. Everybody was like, what is these schools? Who is FAMU? I said, y'all going to learn today who FAMU and who Howard is. And everybody was excited because I was the loudest one in the room, right? I had to let them know of my pride of HBCU culture. And I look at this game because, I thought FAMU was going to come in because I look at your skill position players, but something about Howard made me nervous because it was like a quiet factor that was coming into this game. And I saw that with Mr. Campbell last week. They had him a little quiet, a little bit more than normal. But you go back and you look at this game, Howard gave you fits in this game. And there's something I'm going to tell you at the end of this that I really liked about you when you talk about a composure of a coach. Howard, 11 first downs, 5 of 14 on third down. They went for it on fourth down one time, didn't convert it, 0 for 1 on fourth down, 187 yards. I think that's a testament to your defense and what you were able to do in order to stop them from moving the ball offensively. 106 yards passing, 81 rushing, 5 of 60 on penalties for Howard, 3 interceptions, crucial by Quentin Williams in this ball game. Your defense able to force them to turn it over. FAMU on the other side, 19 first downs, 4 of 12 on third downs, 1 of 2 on fourth down, 357 total yards for the Rattler offense, 289 in the air, 68 on the ground. 7 penalties, coach, and I'm going to talk to you about those penalties because some of those penalties were real costly when you talk about big plays and special plays, and I want to know what caused you to call some of those plays. 7 penalties for 68 yards, and you also had 3 turnovers, a fumble, 2 interceptions. Let's look at Howard and their playmakers, right? Quentin Williams, 14 of 27, 106 yards, 3 interceptions. Eaton James, 12 carries, 55 yards. Jared Hunter, 9 carries, 24 yards, and a touchdown. And Casey Hawthorne found his way into the end zone and a carry on the goal line play. And your quarterback, Jeremy Musa, coach, I like the way I saw you coach him up. He struggled. And you can tell when a quarterback finds himself in situations not making the plays on the big stage, you got all the hype behind you. You're the offensive player of the year. Everybody is expecting these big things from you, and you go out and you make mistakes. But that's the beauty of a coach. That's the beauty of football, and that's the beauty of developing a guy, of showing him in life, you're going to make mistakes. They're going to be mistakes. You just got to look past it and look towards the next play. And Jeremy Musa in this game, 19 of 32, 289 yards passing, 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. You talking about Kelvin Dion, 3 receptions, 87 yards, 2 touchdowns. Hey, that little play on the outside, he was wide open. It was just him and Jesus out there. You baptized him, coach, with that play. You also looking at Kendall Bolden with an interception, Isaiah Major with a crucial interception towards the end, and my man Sharif, 5 receptions, 56 yards, and 1 touchdown. But most importantly, your tight end. He was a guy that bailed you out so many times in this game, coach. When you look at the body to work, and let's just start with the coaching up of Jeremy Musa through the mistakes. What was you saying to him? Because I could tell from both sides, you was trying to keep him focused, and it was easy to lose focus in a game of this magnitude.
Well, no, I mean, Jeremy and I have a special relationship. And so, again, I serve 3 hats for him. I'm his head coach, I'm his play caller, and I'm also his position coach. And so at different times during the game, I'm a different guy. So if I'm talking about the overall mood of the team or being a leader, that's head coach Willie Simmons talking to him. If I'm talking to him about the offense and how it needs to execute and some of the things that need to be done, then it's offensive coordinator Willie Simmons. But if I'm talking about him specifically, his fundamentals, his timing and those things, then I become position coach. So throughout the game, I was just wearing different hats. I told him, hey, you got to make some tight window throws. They're going to drop guys in coverage on 3rd and long. You got to sit in there tall. You got to take some shots in the chin. You got to make some big boy throws. And that 4th down conversion to Kamar Young was as big time of a play as you're going to make. And so, again, that's why I always tell them, like, because you have that ability, that's why we expect it from you, So just challenging them throughout the game, keeping them locked in. If he has a bad play, shake it off. Hey, what did you see? Let's talk about it. So again, just engaging him throughout the game is my job as his coach. And again, you'll see us sometimes, and it may look like we have an intense conversation. Sometimes it look like he's just listening, and I'm talking to him. But again, that's a relationship that we built over 2 years that we know how to deal with each other throughout the game. And I knew we were going to rely on him, in a huge way. And fortunate for us, he was able to step up when it mattered most.
Hey, coach, question for you. You're down. Literally start the game. You look up, you're down 14-0. What do you tell your team? What do you tell your defense? What do you tell your offense at that point in time to kind of right the ship, get everybody focused, understanding there's a long game? Because I was doing a watch party and my boy Rocky said, this is probably the best time to go down 14-0. It's never a good time to be down 14-0. But the first 5 minutes of a football game is the best time to be 14-0. But what were you telling your team at that time?
Honestly, we're good. Like, we're good. We've been here before. I say, hey, think about Texas Southern. And I just reminded them of Texas Southern. We were down 14-0 against them. And it was nothing they were doing. I mean, we had a bad kick to start the game. They returned to the plus 30. We missed a couple of tackles, busted the coverage that gave them a first down. They scored, got the ball back, turned it over, gave it back to them on the short field. They scored again. So in 5 minutes, we played very, very poorly, but there's a lot of football left to play. And so simply it was, guys, we're good. Let's just settle down. All right, let's get back to being who we are. We've been here before. And you didn't see a look of concern on the faces of guys on the sideline. And that was an encouraging thing. Like they weren't tensing up. They weren't pressing. The defense wasn't, getting mad at the offense that just turned it over. And it was all a team effort that, hey, we've been here before. We know we're a really good football team. And it's adversity. That's the one word that we talk about more than anything else in this program. Here's the latest adversity that we're facing, how we're going to deal with it. And fortunately, the guys were able to channel their energy the right way to get us back in the ball game.
Coach, let's talk about that adversity, because the adversity dealt with those penalties. I mean, you had some holding, you had face masks, you had some touchdowns. I know you had for sure 2 touchdowns called back. Just walk through those different penalties as they were happening to you, because I saw your reaction on the sideline, especially on that end around when you had Musa open for a touchdown and you saw that holding call. And then at one point, it turned into like first and like 25, first and 35. I mean, it pushed you all the way behind the 50. Talk about each one of those penalties and what that meant to you in that moment of the game.
Well, the ones that really hurt me or that frustrated me were the personal fouls. We get a first down. Jimmy makes a great throw down the sideline to Jamari Gassett. So 20-plus yard play. And then we push a guy in the back 20 yards behind the ball. So now instead of it being 1st and 10, now it's instead of being 1st and 10, now it's 3rd and whatever it was. And we didn't convert that first down. I think we threw it and instead made it, whatever happened, we didn't convert. Mm-hmm. And then on the throwback from Marcus to Moose, we had taken Cardell out because he got the penalty. And then we put another guy in, and then he goes in and he doesn't do the right thing. And he gets a holding call. So it wasn't them playing harder than us. Sometimes you get a hold because you got beat. And, we got beat. We got a holding call because we used poor fundamentals. And we went the wrong way on a trick play that we had worked a ton of times over the last couple of weeks. So that's why it was frustrating, because they were all self-inflicted things. It was just stuff that we just weren't settled. I think the magnitude of the game maybe got to a few of them. We had tried to talk a lot about making it just, it's the next game, right? We've been here 12 times before. We've done what we needed to do, but it's still a championship game. And, hey, you're still dealing with 18 to 24-year-olds who sometimes have a hard time understanding that concept that, hey, there's no need to be nervous. It's just another football game. We prepared. We're ready. We had a great week of preparation. Let's just go out there and play. But some guys were a little bit too excited. And even with the face mask, I think Dunn was just too geeked up, he whips the tackle and just wildly goes in there and grabs the quarterback's face mask. Like, bro, just go for his waist like we teach you, and you'll be fine. Maybe we don't get a strip fumble, but we get a sack. And so, just those little things we had to settle down on. And a couple of penalties, again, they just kind of went back to back. Had a couple of false starts, had a holding call. And they were 1st and 35. And in my call sheet, I think I got it right here somewhere. This may be it. So this is a SWAC championship call sheet, but there's no 1st and 35 call on that. So definitely don't want to be there.
Listen, Coach, I gotta bring this up. Musa throws the pick 6 that goes back for a touchdown, which I'm watching the watch party. I'm like, how are we not running the ball? But then I'm like, it's Coach Willie Simmons. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, of course they're going to throw the ball. But you're driving down, and I've said this all season, and I've said it in every space I've been to. I'm like, if you gotta have it, and I said it against his Southern, I said, if there's one guy or 2 guys that you gotta have it, it's you and Musa. The flea flicker, that probably will go down in Celebration Bowl history as the most gutsiest call anybody has ever made. I'm watching it on my watch party, and Rocky's like, yo, you can say whatever you want about Coach Simmons. He got some cojones on him, because nobody was expecting that. Tell me how you set that up and why you feel like, hey, this is the perfect time to call that play right here, right now.
Man, you know what? We had practiced the play. We really practiced it probably for the last 2 months. Not for the Celebration Bowl. We saw a play that we liked. We practiced it. And it never worked in practice. Like somebody was going to mess up. Either the guard wasn't going to pull wide enough, the running back was going to pitch the ball bad, the receiver wasn't going to sell it. I mean, it was just – and literally the week before we left, I was like, I'm going to pull it, guys. They were like, Coach, please don't pull it. Please don't pull it. And so it just, you're in the heat of the moment. We got some momentum. A guy had just gotten injured. So a lot of times when there's an injury, they're kind of discombobulated a little bit, because you got a player out. You're concerned about the player's injury. You're trying to get everybody back. So they're not really thinking about a trick play right now. Like, we got some momentum. So they're like, hey, they're probably either we got to pressure them, we got to do something. or we got to just play base defense and just make sure we keep everything in front. And they were really aggressive. I mean, their safeties were super duper aggressive in the run game. And so we felt that it was there. And hey, I mean, it was a gutsy call. It was high risk, extremely high risk, but ultimately very, very high reward. And you just, you call it. If it doesn't work, I'm on here probably having a whole nother conversation.
No doubt about it. And that's what I'm talking about, a whole nother conversation. That front from Howard, listen, initially the pressure that they were able to put on Musa, the sacks, the forced throws, he was uncomfortable early on. What would you say when you look across the field at Howard early on before your team started to make the adjustment in your play call and realize we got to get it out quick? We got to find our tight end. We got to find plays in order to make us comfortable in the backfield. But for you, when you initially saw Howard come out with the energy that they did and their defense been able to apply pressure and push around your O-line early in the game, what was going through your head as you then started to have to make those adjustments?
Well, really just challenging those guys to step the level of play up. I took my hat. Howard came in. They were feisty. They played hard. They're the MEAC champs. And so we knew it wasn't going to be a cakewalk. We knew it was going to have to be a game that we had to take. And so early on, it was really just a challenge of the O-line. Like, we just weren't playing well. We weren't communicating great, had some missed assignments. Moose flipped the protection one time that he shouldn't have, that led to the interception. So we were just doing some uncharacteristic things that were putting us in some, precarious situations. And so we just had to really get into halftime and just settle everyone down. Like, guys, and I told them at halftime, I said, guys, we played our worst half of football, even worse than Texas Southern. We played our worst half of football, probably outside of Mississippi Valley, and we're down 6. Like, as bad as we played in the next championship game, we're down 6 points. If we can just get ourselves calm and just go out there and play good fundamental football for 30 minutes, we'll get what we deserve, And so the guys were able to settle down during that moment. We were able to make a few adjustments on both sides of the ball. And, again, came out and played a great second half. And we pride ourselves on being a second half football team. The way we train, our conditioning, it's built for us to be a second half, fourth quarter football team. And that's what we were able to do.
Coach, the Kelvin Dean, I feel like I think a lot of people don't know how deep you guys are at the running back position. And I talk about it all the time. I say I think you guys have one of the most versatile running back rooms in Black college football. When you're talking in FCS, pretty much when you talk about Will Hoyt, Dean, Jennings, Yance, you can whatever your defense is trying to do, you have a counter. If we need to be a bruiser, I can put Yancey. If I need a guy that can do it all, I can give me Terrell Jennings. If I need some speedsters, I got Will Hort and Dean. What about Dean when you're like, hey, I think this is a great matchup? And that call with the backside wheel is something we've seen numerous of times. You ran against North Carolina. You ran it. I mean, that's one of your staple plays. Why then and why there?
Well, Kevin is our most versatile guy as far as being a pass catcher. And we were struggling running the ball a little bit. So we felt some misdirection in the pass game would give us some advantages, because they were playing a lot of man. So just moving guys around, motioning and those type of things would confuse them as to who they had, especially when you start leaking guys out of the backfield. So if you're playing man coverage, you got linebackers who got to try to what they call banjo. So if he comes to me, I got him. If he comes to you, you have him. But they're also reading their keys in the box. They got their A gap fitters or B gap fitters in the run game. So on a particular play that we ran, we pulled the guard to the left linebacker. And so he sees the guard pulling where he thinks there's some type of gap scheme coming where he's going to retract. And then that running back is leaking out the back door. So he and that other linebacker got to communicate. One of them's got to take him. Well, the one who's supposed to take him, because if he goes to our left, their right, the linebacker on their right should take him. Yeah. Well, that guy has a lineman pulling away from him, which typically tells him to track the puller to get over the top. And they were in man coverage. And so no one else was there. So all we had to do was just get the ball off. And Kevin did a great job. We actually had the same play called before the first touchdown to Dean. When we leaked them out of the backfield on the inside seam route, we had a similar play called. The running back, Terrell, fell down. He got tripped up. The one that he threw to Nick Dixon that was called on the goal line that they ended up ruling incomplete. Terrell was running the same. It was the same route. We just window dressed it and ran it a different way. But so we felt we had some of those opportunities, after we scouted them, and but again, it takes execution. With Terrell's, we didn't execute. We fell down with their screen at the end. Running back falls down.
Oh
get an interception. So that's just part of the position. You got to have guys that you trust to do their jobs. Unfortunately for us, Kevin Dean Wu, which we call him, did an amazing job. He's got phenomenal hands. He made 2 great catches and really broke the game open for us in the passing game, man. But it was some stuff that we thought we saw. We called it at the right time, executed it, and man, it definitely led to a historic win.
You're muted, P. Hey, P, you're muted. P, you're muted.
There we go. Can you hear me?
Gotcha.
All right, Coach, let me ask you a question. And this is a question because you have had the opportunity to be able to do 2 things. You've had the opportunity to coach your team in the FCS playoffs, and now you've had an opportunity to coach your team into a Celebration Bowl. When you put these 2 together, and this has been the question that you get from a lot of people when we talk about HBCUs. Yeah. First, for you, what seems to be the better opportunity for a program? Is it the FCS playoffs in which you go and take on a team and have a shot at a national title like we've seen with the teams in the FCS playoffs, or winning a SWAC title and then getting a chance to play on a national television stage at a game like the Celebration Bowl on ABC? What works best for you when you look at the 2, the FCS playoffs or the Celebration Bowl, in your opinion?
Well, I'll say this. There will only be 3 Division I national champions. You'll have the FBS national champion that will play, in early January. You'll have the FCS national champion, which will be decided around that same time. I think it's now down to South Dakota State and Montana. And you'll have the HBCU national champion. There's only 3 you'll have. And so you ask any guy on this team, this last Saturday's game feel like a championship, they'll tell you yes. Like the feeling they had coming off the field, the confetti, they are national champions. And so I've been around long enough to have heard both sides of the conversation, both sides of the argument. Both sides have valid points. But the experience that the guys get at the Celebration Bowl is second to none. The exposure that they receive playing on national television in one of the first bowl games of the season, playing in Mercedes-Benz Stadium, which is one of the best sports venues in the South, all those amenities and benefits that they receive, it blows the FCS playoffs out the water. The reality of it is, because of the setup, even if the MEAC and SWAC decided, hey, Celebration Bowl had a nice run, we're going to jump back in with everybody else, we're going to go to FCS playoffs. What's the likelihood, had we gone to the playoffs this year, what's the likelihood that we host the first round? So guarantee. If we don't get one of those automatic 4 bids, then four seeds, there's no guarantee that you're going to host the first round. And so you're taking your team on the road to go play someone else when you're maybe even a higher ranked team. And then you start to look at the second round, the third round. I mean, I'm a Florida boy. I do not like cold weather. And so you're talking about going to play South Dakota State in Billings, or I'm not Billings, wherever they are. You're talking about playing Montana in Missoula or Billings or wherever they are, Fargo, North Dakota. Like, I talked to Mike London last year, who's the head coach at William & Mary, and they lost to, I think it was Montana State, one of those teams out in the far northwest. And he said that the ground was frozen. Literally, the turf was frozen the entire game. That they didn't even have the right cleats on because they don't know how to prepare, what type of cleats to wear on frozen tundra. So you can imagine taking a bunch of boys from Florida, Georgia, Louisiana. Man, I'm just look at us sideways. Think we really got them playing the game like that. So again, I get it. This it's just the purists say, hey, go out there and compete for a national title at the FCS level. That's where you are. You're an FCS team. You should go play for an FCS title. But I guess I would just say the ones who've been a part of the Celebration Bowl, Broad Broadway, Sam Washington, Broderick Fobbs, Trey Oliver. You ask those guys, and they'll tell you, man, that's the Celebration Bowl is a great experience. And then the financial benefits of going to the game, you can't overlook that. You say what you want. I mean, it really benefited the university this year to host the SWAC championship game, and then 2 weeks later, playing the Celebration Bowl. I mean, that's going to do wonders for our athletic department and our budget. And look at what A&T was able to do all those years, going 4 years back to back. What it was able to do for their overall athletic program, and that's what we're all striving for. So, short answer, I'm an advocate of the Celebration Bowl. I understand the purists who want to go to the FCS playoffs, but I'm a huge fan of the Celebration Bowl and what it provides for our young men.
Coach, appreciate the explanation on that. Let me ask you this. It's been a lot of talk about the layoff. MEAC has a month. You guys have 2 weeks. In your opinion, does your win put it to rest, or the way you prepare your team is just different than other SWAC teams probably have done in the past? Or how do you feel that preparation helped or hurt your team in any type of way?
Nah, I don't buy into that, Scotty. I mean, the reality of it is, and the facts are the facts. The MEAC is 6-2 in the Celebration Bowl. Every year for the first 5 years, the favorite won. A&T was the favorite every year they went.
Wow.
And they won. Grambling was the favorite the year they played Central. Grambling won. And then the last 2 years, the favorite lost, Jackson State, right? Well, the first year, no excuses, South Carolina State beat them. I have my own assumptions as to why I think the game was so lopsided. You look at the makeup of the game. We had beat South Carolina State 30-7.
Yeah.
Early in the season. They had lost to Alabama A&M. They had lost to 3 SWAC schools that Jackson State had beat going to the Celebration Bowl. So, not saying that they got overlooked, not saying what, but it's hard to. You're talking about Prime's team. Like, this is Hollywood, in Jackson, and we're about to go play a team that's lost to 3 teams already that we played. Like, it's just psychologically, it's really hard to get those guys up. And by the time you get hit in the mouth, it's like, oh hell, what's going on? And the game is out of reach before you know it. Mm-hmm. Last year, no excuses, but Prime was gone. I mean, he'd already taken the job in Colorado. So you got guys who wonder whether they're going to follow him to Colorado, go in the portal or whatever. And Central went in with that same kind of underdog mentality that, hey, we're going to beat the big bad machine that's Jackson State. And they were able to do so. And so I don't play into the month preparation helps. I mean, a bye week's a bye week. You get a bye week doing this, you should be prepared. You get more time to scout. But this year, they didn't know they were going to play us until we beat Prairie View. Now, they could have assumed, and they could have started watching film earlier. But, again, at the end of the day, like I tell our team all the time, if we're doing something that no one else is doing, I will allow you to make excuses for it. But guess what? The SEC championship was December 2nd, right? Same day as we played the SWAC championship. Alabama won't play their first-round playoff game until the end of December. So there's a month layoff. Yeah. So layoffs are part of bowls. Like, that's what happens. You play the end of the season, you wait a few weeks, you play in a bowl game. Like, that's what everybody does. So the whole how much layoff time you need or whatever, I don't subscribe to that theory. I think the first 5 years the favorite won. I think the last 2 years the underdog won. We were the favorite, we won. So now I think it's 62 MEAC, but it's really 62 spread.
Favorite. Yeah, 62
favorite, and that's what happens in sports. Most of the time, the favorite's going to win. So if next year the MEAC's the favorite over the SWAC team, there's a good chance that team's going to win. If the SWAC team's the favorite, there's a good chance the SWAC team's going to win. So the numbers suggest that the favorite's going to win 75% of the time. I don't think the numbers say the MEAC's going to win 75% of the time, because look at the MEAC SWAC challenge. I think the numbers say the favorite's going to win 75% of the time, and that's why we're in this situation.
Understood.
Coach, what's that Jeezy song you say when you walk into the spot?
How you know about that? How you know about that, man? Yeah, Scotty know about that. You ain't supposed to know about that.
What's the Jeezy? What's the name of the song you said?
I put on. Listen,
you put on for Tallahassee. You put on for Florida A&M. You get that interception at the end. You look up at the clock. You're winning 30-26, and you find yourself in a position as the clock go down. The reality starts to set in. I want to know for you, that Jeezy song I put on, right? As it all came together and you put on for your school and for your program, and through the ups and downs over the years, man, it finally came into fruition where here it is, the confetti is falling and you about to go out and shake the coach hand and say, see you again, never, right? For you, what was going through? What was that like? I saw them douse you with the Gatorade with the water. What was that entire moment as it just unfolded for you, Coach Scotty? Please don't act like that, Scotty.
Y'all out there. It was a wave of emotion, man. It was a culmination of just a lot of work, a lot of sacrifices, a lot of doubt from people, a lot of overcoming adversity. And the people that know me or that are around me, they know how driven I am about perfection, and so after games when I tell the guys you got a 24-hour rule, go hang out, go have fun, and we'll come back tomorrow and we'll be ready to go. I don't give myself a 24-hour rule. Like I literally at a home game will stay in my office until the film is downloaded to my computer until I can watch it when I get home. Like I'm thinking about how we played, how poorly we played, how great we played, with things we need to do better, not how great we played, but things we need to do better. I'm thinking about all those things the moment the game is over. And so it's very hard for me to enjoy wins during the season because I know we got a game coming up in 7 more days that I got to get this team prepared for. Saturday night, there wasn't the game I was thinking about. So I was finally able, after 13 weeks, to just live in the moment. Like, this is it. Like, we've done it. Like, everything that we put together, we've finally done it. And I don't have to worry about anything. Like, just let it all come out. And when, my good friend Ray Matthews, who coached me in high school, who's been here every step of the way, was instrumental in me even getting here to Tallahassee, when he grabbed me, it just made that moment real. And when Troy Johnson, who my DFO, who went to school together, those were the first guys that came and embraced me because we go to lunch about every other day and we talk about, what this team could become. And to just share that moment with them, my receiver coach, who I played against in high school, I mean, it was just a surreal moment to just be there at that time and just realize that, man, everything that we've gone through, we've finally done it. And I knew that even though we were the heavy favorite, there was still some that doubted, that still that MEAC SWAC bias was still real. When we went down 14-0, I knew there were a bunch of I told you so's, I knew it all. And so it was just a moment for me of just peace. And that peace just brought a lot of emotions out of me that I've been kind of holding in for a long time.
Coach, I'm going to tell you, listen, I ain't going to lie to you. I told him straight up. I said, y'all 2 touchdown favorite, and it shouldn't even been close. I ain't even going to hold you. Off the film I watched, I'm like, this team shouldn't be on the field with them. And if Musa just hits on 3 of them jokers, this is a runaway. And I'm over here looking real pretty right now. So
it was those penalties, Scotty.
Just telling you, I'm like, this game shouldn't even been close. But that's neither here nor there. Coach, let's fast forward because I know you guys are, ramping up again to get back into that off-season work. 2 things before I let you go, right? If Perry, Mr. Perry always got like, go one more. But 2 things. You lose Musa, but I think the beauty that I try to tell FAMU fans is you've done it with so many different guys, right? You've done it with Ryan. You've done it with Rashawn. You've done it with Musa. You've been productive with different types of styles. One, how important is refilling that quarterback position? I know you got Junior there. I know you got Jimbo Fisher's son there. So you got some guys in the wings waiting. And then 2, how important is it to bring those Tallahassee kids back? Because, I mean, I talked to a few players, and they love putting on for their city. They love playing for, kids that have grew up there on FAMU's campus and being able to come back and give this championship to the city. How much of that is a secret recruiting tactic that you guys use? Because some of the best players that go out to Power 5s come right in that circle area of Tallahassee.
Well, as far as the quarterback position, obviously it's a position of need for us. We have some guys here that we look forward to seeing what they can do this spring. But obviously, you're always trying to create competition and depth at those positions, key positions. So, we're actively looking, whether it be transfer portal, junior college recruiting, or even high school, to find guys that fit the mold of what we're looking for in a quarterback. You say I've done it with different guys. They've all had different styles, and I think that's the beauty of this offense is that it's flexible enough that if you got a dual threat guy, you can make it work. If you got a pocket passer, you can make it work. The offense is flexible enough that we just need to find a guy that can process information, be a good leader, and execute the stuff that we asked them to do with the multiple options that we have within the offense. So I feel good that we'll be able to get a quality quarterback in here to compete with those guys. And, the best guy will rise to the top and be able to lead us. As far as the local recruiting, I really took that from Billy Joe. When I was coming out of high school, of course, I was a heavily recruited guy. Antonio Carter was a heavily recruited guy. Other guys that we came out with during that year were heavily recruited, and Billy Joe told all of us the same thing. He said, hey, guys, I know you got offers from everybody in the country. Congratulations. You deserve it, rightfully so. But you always know you got a home. And for us, that meant the world to us. And we kind of had an unspoken rule back then that, hey, I'm going to Clemson. AC was going to Bama. Taylor Jacobs was going to Florida. We had guys going everywhere, and they were all from the Tallahassee area. And it was like, hey, if things don't work out where we are, we know we can come back and turn the city up, right? And that was kind of the unspoken rule. So I think it's getting back to that now. I think those guys are starting to have those conversations. They're seeing the success that we're having here in Tallahassee. They're seeing the success that guys on this team are having. They see Marquise Bell in the NFL. They see Isaiah Land. They see Xavier Smith. And so now the realization is they see that we're a top 100 public institution. So the realization is, hey, they have a real first-class program down there that I can go in and accomplish the goals that I set for myself. And more than anything else, start having fun again playing the game of football. It's not the business side of things that a lot of the bigger schools, present. It's not all about the NIL. And I tell you, you're not coming here to get rich right now. I tell them straight up, like, don't think you're coming here to get rich in Tallahassee. You're coming here to position yourself to get rich in a year, 2 years, 4 years. So come here, play good ball, have fun, work your tails off, and you can be a guy that can play in the National Football League or the other leagues that are out there. And so that's been the message. And luckily we've had enough guys come back here that have had great success that it's opened the eyes of a lot of the other local guys. And I think last year was phenomenal to get Kevin Dean and Jacquez Yant, Trey Wilhoit, like 5 or 6 guys, Jalen Glaze, to all come back to Tallahassee. And we got, I can't speak on it yet, but it's a lot of other guys from the 850 area that are on the phones, interested in possibly coming back home as well. So huge recruiting tool for us. We want to keep our local talent here, whether it's straight out of high school or transferring back. And fortunately for us, we've had a lot of success with that, which ultimately leads to our overall success as a football team.
Coach, my last question for you. You're now the HBCU national champion. You're the SWAC champion. What's your words out there with your dominance over the conference over the past 3 years since you transitioned to the SWAC and now being on top of the world? What is your message out there to everybody as Florida A&M has now put the stake in the ground at the top of the mountain and said, hey, you got to come through us if you're talking about wanting to be a Black college national champion?
Well, for us, I mean, we feel like that should always be the case. That's the expectation here. When I took this job 6 years ago, they were coming off 6 straight years of losing seasons, but make no mistake about it, that was the expectation, is that this program gets back to the glory days, of Billy Joe, Ken Riley, Rudy Hubbard, Jay Gaither. I mean, that's the expectation here. And so when you take the job, at FAMU, you take it knowing that you can't be down very long, and you better figure out what it's going to take to get your team and your program to that holy grail that we just experienced. And so, my message really for anybody else, because I know that everybody's not gunning for us. That's the reality, that we're at the top of the mountain, and just like everything else, everybody's trying to get to that pinnacle. So we can't rest. We work today. Everybody start texting like, "Hey, coach, you got some time?" No, we're in the office. we work today. Signing day is Wednesday, and we got some scholarships to send out, and so we got to get in the office and grind out, and we'll work through signing day, and then we'll take a little bit of vacation time over the holiday season and get back to it in January. And so we know everyone's gunning for us. We know that people are trying to reload. They're trying to see what they can do to catch up to us as far as our talent level, as far as our schemes, all of those things. Because again, people at Southern, they don't want to lose the FAMU. People at Jackson State, they ain't trying to lose the FAM, and so they're holding those coaches accountable to that. Just like when here, they prime or no prime, we ain't trying to lose Jackson too many more times, coach. Like, hey, the first 2 years you lost the Classic. Hey, dog, all them wins good, but you can't keep losing this Classic. So that's just reality. And so when you're at a program with those type of expectations, you got to roll your sleeves up and go to work. And so I'm excited. There's some really good coaches coming into the league. Excited for my good friend Mickey Joseph, who just got the Grambling job. I know he's going to do an amazing job there. Terrence Graves is putting in a lot of SWAC hours. finally got his opportunity to lead the program there at Southern. I know he's excited, going to do a great job. We'll find out what's going on at Texas Southern here pretty soon, whether, they pull a coach from another conference school or not. And so, again, everybody's trying to get better. And so we can't sit here and rest on our laurels and think that people are just going to let us continue to just sit at the top and not come forward. So all that being said, I'm challenging Rattler Nation to continue to support, to increase the support. And we're going to give it our best every year. We're going to put a great class together this year and get ready to try to run this thing back.
Coach, last question before I let you go. A lot of people, including myself, have said you're still looking for that statement win, right? You're still looking for that FCS out of conference big win. You got Troy in the schedule. How important is that to you? Because, they talk about the Broadways beating the group of fives and the big white boys, or as Perry likes to say, the Confederates, the Confederate teams. That's what Perry calls them, the Confederates.
Everybody got their favorite Confederate team. Somewhere down the line. Somewhere in Tallahassee, somebody a fan of Florida State.
You know what I'm saying? So, what, you've marked a lot of things off your bucket list. How do you rank or put in value, those out of conference wins against the South Florida, trying to get a South Florida win or a, Troy win, things like that?
Well, no, I think those are definitely program-defining wins, and I think Broadway stamped his legacy as a potential top 5 HBCU coach all time because he was able to do that. I think 3 years in a row, and so it says a lot when you could take a team with 63 scholarships to go beat a team with 85, and then do it again the next year, and then again the next year. Then obviously Sam Washington came in and did the same thing, beat East Carolina, and so now that I have the Celebration Bowl box checked, that's the last one left. That's probably the only thing that I haven't been able to accomplish as a head coach, and that's go out and have a marquee FBS win. We've beaten some. I'm not going to use that term that Perry uses. We've beaten some PWIs at the FCS level. During my time at Prairie View, and so I think that FBS win is something that will go a long way. And it's something that we don't shy away from. And we have 2 of them next year. We play University of Miami week 3, and we play Troy, I think, week 5 or 6. And so, yeah, we're going to go in there guns a-blazing and try to see if we can do something amazing. So I will say this, and I'll leave. It just kind of hit me. This year it's so ironic, the parallels between this year and the 78 championship team. Both 12-1, both won championships on the exact same day. Both wore green jerseys with white pants with a stripe on the side. You know what that 78 team did the next year?
What they do?
They beat the University of Miami.
Come on now. My wife said there is no such things as coincidences, okay?
Oh, you going to make me go holler at FanDuel. I know that underdog is going to be ridiculous.
Hey, we'll see if we can keep riding this wave and to continue to make the magic happen. But no, man, it's not the top of the bucket list. Obviously, if I had my choice, I would do it all over again. To say if I say I can win the Celebration Bowl or beat Miami, it's win the Celebration Bowl 100 times out of 100. It's beat Troy and Miami or win the Celebration. It's win the Celebration Bowl. So again, that's my focus. Those are games. Now we're going to go and play them. We don't go in and pull our starters and say we're going to. No, we go into the game, and as long as it's a game, we're going to play our guys and go try to win. It's like we did South Florida this year. We went toe-to-toe. Yeah. Like we did Carolina 2 years ago. We stood toe-to-toe with them.
That was good. Yeah.
The more we can continue to bring in quality talent, the more we can continue to develop our guys, get them the proper resources they need, I think we'll be able to go into those games and be competitive. And hey, ball bounces it well a few times. We'll see what happens, and but that's the next evolution of this program, and I think it will happen here sooner rather than later.
Absolutely, Coach Willie Simmons. I appreciate you. We want to give you a congratulations. Being the champion. Come on now. Willie mean I'm a champion. You know what I'm saying? Willie go mean I'm a champion. Listen, I'm gonna try to get down there for the spring. Try to get some behind the scenes of what you guys do, breaking down film and things like that. Some of your big plays for the season, but I appreciate your willingness to come on, give us. I'm a little controversial, so I appreciate you. You know what I'm saying? And,
Did you say you appreciate his willingness?
his willingness.
What y'all what Perry doing, man? I
His
don't know who y'all doing.
willingness to come on, even with my controversialness. You know what I'm saying? Do the show. So I appreciate you, Coach. You enjoy your time. You enjoy your team, man. And you guys bask in your win. Of like my boy Josh says, you got 365 days to be top dog.
Man, no doubt, man. Well, hey, man, happy holidays to you guys, everyone listening, man. We really appreciate everything, all the support. And, Scott, you good with me. I don't get a little controversy. I never hurt nobody. So
Come on, come on, shotgun.
Keep doing what you're doing.
I love it, man. Thank you, Coach. Appreciate you as always.
I'm going to interview Perry next time and ask him about what's going on down there in Baton Rouge and get him.
Come on, man. Come on, I would love to be interviewed by a champion as your caliber.
Hey, Coach, I'm going to do it just like this. And then you go right ahead. You do your thing.
All you got to do is flip the screen, and now you're on the hot seat. 10 questions, you're on the hot seat.
Well, what I want you to do, Coach, when you get to the end, I want you to say, Perry, I got one more question for you. I just got one more. So you keep on with the questions. Throw them all at me, and I'm ready for them.
No doubt, man. Well, hey, man, y'all enjoy the rest of the week, brother. Appreciate you.
Thank you, man. Happy holidays. Congratulations, Coach, man. I'm a huge fan of yours, and I can say that. I'm going to put that on the record. I'm a fan of yours, man. I love what you have done. I've been watching you ever since you was the OC at Alcorn and watched this progression of where you've been through your career and now at the pinnacle where you're at, man. Congratulations. Much love to you, brother. And regardless of the schools, that don't matter, man. It's just watching you be successful. And that's what I love the most, man. With you being able to find a way to be successful, doing it the right way through adversity, and being able to hold that trophy, man. I was smiling from ear to ear for you, man, for real.
I appreciate you, brother.
Hey, man, it's like you about to put on some green and orange.
Hey, I will, man. I'm freelance, baby. I'm out here. What he said on Morris Brown, I'm freelance, man.
Oh, man. Hey, appreciate you, Coach.
All right, man. Y'all be good.
All right. Hey, man, listen. Sound like you might become a rattler. That's what it sounds like.
Hey, he put on, man. I like how he built this program. You know, the way I am, the way I think, the way I saw him do it, and the continued success, I support that. And as long as I see it that way, man, I support that. I don't give a damn who you are and what you're doing. You know, we do that regardless if it's our favorite. Go back to our favorite Confederate teams, right? If you see them building and working, man, look, you don't have no problem with supporting it, right? So if you support a team, they go undefeated on that level, I support it right here on this level, man. And you can't help but love the way that this guy has built this program.
That's fair. That's absolutely fair. You know what time it is?
Administration, our students, we brag different. You guys don't follow social media probably as far as getting the chat boards and all that stuff. But our people talk big talk, all right? Because they know we can back it up. We can back it up in the classroom, we can back it up socially, and we gonna back it up on the football field.
He can't get no grand interest because he didn't bring the energy last week. Yeah. Just take your win. Just take your win, sir. Just take your win, sir.
You know what? I'm disappointed where y'all treat a senior citizen. You know, I'm gonna tell everybody in the chat so everybody knows Scott is like my son and Perry's like my nephew. So I'm 53 years old. You know, so. You know, we have won 11 times before we had that game. So, you know, like for old folks, it's hard to get up, you know what I'm saying? Every time and everything. So, you know, Perry chastised me, saying I didn't bring the energy and everything, saying I was being reserved. But see, Perry, I'm 53 years old. So, see, some folks, you know, got to use a blue pill. But see, I got my orange pill. See, I got the Rattler Revival today.
Oh, my
God.
God.
I'm going to be up for this with a lot of energy. And do what I got to do because they tried to check me. Talking I couldn't celebrate, talking I couldn't have fun and things like that because I wasn't there. But like I say, it's hard to get up every time your team win every week against everybody. and beat their rivals like Southern and Bethune and Jackson. But I tell you what, we got a lot of energy today. So that was my coach right there. That's my coach. Y'all saw him. So we got a lot of energy today. So I figured that, okay, you're not gonna cut me out, right? We all right? Is this energy okay?
I just know this wasn't that energy last Monday. You was in here trying to give a dissertation on why, you got to stay level head. You got to remain focused. You can't overlook the opponent. We beat everybody, but hey, we got Howard. We just going to do what we need to do. Now, all of a sudden, we beat everybody every week.
Well, see, this is the thing, Parent. But see, this is the thing about me and you. See, you talk a lot, but your team never wins. See, so maybe if you would have kept a little bit of that, and maybe your coach, you would have had. You've had more coaches in the last 5 years than we've had losses.
Let's just stop right there because last week.
Yeah, well, no. Because see, I told you, I took my pill because I'm 53. I took my pill because I'm 53. So all I'm gonna say is I can fall down a little bit because I'm old. That's what I got an AARP card. I got an AARP card, so I can fall down every once in a while. But until you get like us, see right here. That's the number one public HBCU. But we can move on.
He didn't give Jay Walker, Kamala Harris, Howard, P. Diddy. He didn't give none of them that energy last week.
Not a lick.
Wasn't thinking about none of them. So they didn't show up for the game anyway. They didn't show up for the game anyway. So why was I worried about them? But you know what? It's fine. So they said, but this is what happened for us old folks. We just can't get it up every week, but we up to date.
What's that book where the kid comes in for porridge? He's like, "Can I have some more, sir?"
Oliver Twist.
Yeah.
He said some what?
More. Can I tell Mr. Campbell came in? Can I have some more, sir?
Hey man, listen, I came in there focused, boy. I'm tell you what, just like our coach was in our team.
More. Yeah, like
what?
Just like our team. But you know what though? The great thing about it is we will find out what Southern's going to do with their third coach in the last 5 years. So we'll see.
You can't get off that seat. When they mention you over and over and over, whether you win or lose, you know how much you mean to them. Listen. Every time, listen, Southern means a lot because Southern means a lot to FAMU because that's one of our rivals. So Southern means a lot, and I got Kofi. Y'all see the Kofi, you know what I'm saying? Kofi's here, got a lot of energy. So anyway, we good to go. So let's go. I appreciate the publicity study shouting out Southern. No, I appreciate
well, listen, y'all need all the shout out help y'all can get because see, we're on national TV and people know who we are. So you need all that. We are here. FAMU people are here to help. No question.
Congratulations.
Thank you, sir.
Congratulations to you.
Thank you.
When you were at the game, that's Perry. That's Perry Stinkley. You can't talk about a game if you ain't there, right?
Well, not only was I at the game, we had a beautiful suite. And guess who? Scott, you know who was next to us in our suite? The vice president.
Oh, wow.
They made all of us sit our asses down until she walked. Her Howard graduated behind to us seat. She did a little party and dance, and then we could go to the bathroom. So she was actually in the suite right next to our suite. So that was pretty impressive. I was trying to tell her about our week, but they wouldn't let me. So, but I'm gonna try. You know what I'm saying? I tried.
All right. What were your thoughts and takeaways for the game? 26-30. You were there. You saw the crowd. You saw how you guys were moving and responding. Talk about the game.
Well, here's the thing. I got to start with something that's the most important thing. I want to give Jeremy Musa his flowers because that young man clearly has to be one of the toughest SWAC players that I have seen in close to 50 years because the level of scrutiny and the pressure that he had coming into this year. He was preseason, all-conference offensive SWAC player of the year. He ended up with it, but it was never, and I will admit, even like I said, I love FAMU, but for us fans, because that's all we are. As the coach said, the coach knew, but us fans always wanted more. But I tell you one thing, I have never seen a player in a SWAC that when something goes wrong, that kid turns around like nothing happens and come back and make drive after drive. And he did that during that game. And that was the most amazing thing because you could feel the energy drop. And that kid walked off and he came back and led us to 2 scoring drive, which was utterly amazing. Utterly amazing.
Okay. Now, 26-30, what was your score? What was your score, Mr. Campbell?
Mine was 35-17.
35-17.
No, I'm sorry, 35-21. 35-21.
Wow, 21. Perry, what was your score?
I want to say I had 28-17.
And I think I had 31-17. So we all
28-14. You had the 17. I had the 14.
Yeah, okay. So I was 31-17 and going forward. Now, Mr. Campbell, let me ask you a couple questions real quick. And there's no crime report. Crime report will be on Wednesday. Give y'all a heads up because I know y'all asking for a crime report. It'll be a crime report on Wednesday. Let me ask you this: when Musa threw the pick six, what was the atmosphere in the crowd? And you as a Rattler through and through, what was going through your mind at that time when Musa threw the pick six?
Okay, so it was two trains of thought. I'm going to talk about the people that don't watch FAMU football, because I will say the 40,000 people that came to the game, probably on 15,000 of them have actually watched more than 3 games.
Okay.
So you could feel the building like, oh, we about to lose. But I'm going to be honest with you. For those that have watched this football team, and you know I have watched every play of this team, I have come on here and talked about this team. I looked at everybody and said, we're going to be all right because we got time. We got time, and they're going to make a drive. And I have seen it over and over again. And anybody in that suite will tell you, I did not panic. I got videos of it. And I'll say is, we're going to get the ball back, and we're going to score. Because the one thing that I saw, and this is the thing about it, when we talked about and broke down this game, this was East Coast power versus Florida fast. And the whole game is what you saw from FAMU was Florida fast. And they were never, ever dominating us. At the line of scrimmage, it was kind of tough, but you could see our players on defense, on offense, running past these guys. So plays were there to be made. So it was one of those things, which again, and I got to say something about Coach Simmons. I met Coach Simmons when he was a sophomore at Clemson. And Coach Simmons was a leader of men then. And to go 20 plus years later to still be a leader, he showed what kind of leader he was. I saw this as a young man, 19, 20 years old. And you could see that team did not panic. They came off the field, they huddled up, and you could see they got their mojo right back. They got their mojo right back. So for those that really followed this team, I'm going to tell you something. No, I was not concerned because we had too much time. Like if that might have been 3 minutes, then, you know, maybe. But it was too much time in the game. It was way too much time. So I felt comfortable because the thing, I'm going to be honest with you. The thing that most of us, and our coach alluded to it, was that we were only down 16-10. And they were playing 50-yard football to get the 2 touchdowns and then, of course, the safety.
Yeah.
They had not gone from the 20 to the end zone on us. You
Absolutely.
did not see that. So we felt pretty good. And like I say, once again, we have plays that we left on the table that we saw that, again, that coach said, you know what, we're going to go back to it. We're going to see it and things like that. So, no, I felt pretty good, to be honest with you.
As a Rattler, and you've seen the dark days, and they were dark. Ooh, were they dark? How does this feel now that the dark clouds have, you know, parted and you guys get to see a championship? How does that feel? How does that, you know, how does Rattler Nation feel about this Celebration Bowl and about Willie Simmons, homegrown kid, you know, generational kid, you know, from his family being part of FAMU? It just seems there's so much history tied into this team. A lot of players being from Tallahassee, you know, Willie Simmons having family that going to FAMU, his wife being a FAMU grad, you know what I'm saying? All those things have transpired to you guys standing at the top of the mountain. How does that feel?
Well, here's the thing. And FAMU is a very special place. And FAMU is a trend-setting place. Everything FAMU does, being the #1 public HBCU, being the top 100. FAMU now is the only HBCU that has been voted Black National Champion, has won a 1AA FCS championship, and now a Celebration Bowl. So this is part of our heritage and legacy to always be the first of doing something. So for us, again, to come in, Earl made the joke, save the swag, but this was big for the swag. This was a flagship brand that came in that was favored. Coach Simmons said it. We were favored in every game. And for me to sit back and, like you say, have seen the 1 and 10s and the different coaches and knowing that we're in Florida and the players are in Florida. And if we could just get those guys to come to Florida A&M University, this would be a championship team. And I made a post about this. We're not in the college football players. I don't care. We're not in the FCS championship. I don't care. But what I care about is that FAMU is HBCU national champions, and that's going to carry on forever. Nobody's going to forget it. I was there to see it, and I'm proud of my coach and those players. So the feeling that FAMU people get, because see, we, like I say, the coach said, we talk a lot of stuff. All of our alumni do, because we're very proud of who and what we are. But to see our team to back it up week in and week out, and then to go in that game when that thing got tough, to show that FAMU focus and to make those big plays on a trick play where his seniors, this was the great thing about his seniors said, Coach, we can make that play. We can call that play. And the coach knowing his players because he's been around and he's coached them to make that play. That says a lot about who and what FAMU is all about.
All right, Mr. Campbell, last thing before I let you go. Tell Rattler Nation, you got your 30 seconds of fame. I'm gonna give you a solo shot. Talk to your Rattler Nation. Tell them how you feel. Tell them what they should be feeling and what should they expect for next year and much more to come.
Well, look, I'm gonna say this first and foremost. That coach we got to support him. And if that coach said we need something, because our coach just made FAMU $2 million just directly, and we're not going to talk about indirectly. So we need to support that coach, because if we want to build this program the way we know it could be, because I'm going to say this, and I'm saying respect. Prime says something, but I think FAMU can actually complete the mission. I think FAMU can be that school to say, hey, you know what? You don't have to go to a Power 5. You don't have to go to a Group of 5. You can come to Florida A&M, go to the NFL, play in big games, and we can go beat those teams because of who and what we are. That's the thing that I am super excited about. That's the thing that I want to see for us to keep building on. Like I said, build on this legacy that now Coach Simmons had. But I want us to understand we can't take Coach Simmons and these players for granted, because that is hard work that coach is doing. Like I said, that coach is working right now. His recruiting staff is working right now, and they don't have $1 million budget. And sometimes they are hard to find, but they make it where they find players. They're not prime time. So they do everything to get great players to be championship players. So that's the thing that I really want to see the Rattler Nation and all HBCUs to step our game up to support our schools so we can have these great games, Southern versus FAMU, Jackson State versus FAMU, Grambling versus FAMU, Southern versus Jackson State, and have the level of talent that I grew up with. NFL players, Hall of Fame players, things like that. So that's really what I really want to see and things like that. But I'm super excited. I'm super proud. And like I say, I want to say something to, again, you and Perry. We've had a lot of fun this year. Again, the football season is over, but I appreciate both of you guys allowing me to have a little fun and enjoying it. But no, that's really what I really wanted to say.
All right, man. Appreciate you, Mr. Campbell, as always. I'll see you with the crowd report.
All right.
All right, P. We got a lot to tap into. I want to touch back on some hot and viral topics before we get going. You already know what it is. Need your thoughts. Mickey Joseph, your former head coach, now OC, allegedly, are headed down to the G. What's your thoughts?
Mickey Joseph, I look at him as a ball coach, formerly the interim coach at Nebraska, assistant head coach at LSU. He's been around the place a little bit when you talk about understanding programs outside of the HBCU realm, but now coming back into this realm. I thought it was a good hire for Grambling. And let's see where he goes from here. I had an opportunity to talk to Travian Scott a little earlier this morning before all the press conference things. And I just want, I expressed that, hey, man, this is a good hire, man. Now I'm going to sit back and watch what this does for your program, because here's a guy, when you talk about being in that Power 5, that knows what it's like to go in rooms and to raise money. And most of all, Scotty, knows how to recruit really well. So I want to see what can he do to recruit to get some talent to the program and ultimately evolve. And he said he wants people to fear the G again. Can he get them back to that status of people saying when Grambling's on the schedule, oh, shit. And it's been a while since people have done that with Grambling on the schedule.
Been a while. Absolutely. All right. Another topic. You a band guy. Did they get it right? Band of the year. I've heard a lot of mixed emotions about this. Florida Memorial, North Carolina T were named the winners of the Band of the Year over Virginia State, over Jackson State. Perry, you work closely with the Southern Human Jukebox. What's your thoughts on the Band of the Year?
Well, before I talk about who actually won, what I'm going to say is Did nobody give a damn about showing up to this, right?
Facts.
You know what the problem is? And I'm going to tell you from my thoughts moving forward. First of all, you're going to have to announce way sooner what bands are going to be participating in this battle of the bands. I don't know why they felt they could wait at the last minute and know if it was just going to snap of a finger, generate so much interest. But it is fickle when you start to talk about and mess around with battle of the bands, especially with so few bands that unfortunately most people really don't go out on YouTube or show up to games to watch on a consistent basis, except for one. And I think you saw that when you looked at the overall attendance. Now, this is Perry's perspective before I close this out on who won and my thoughts on that. Moving forward, the Celebration Bowl is the Celebration Bowl. It is for the SWAC and it's for the MEAC. It is not on our part to have to pick up the rest of the HBCUs and put them on our back. The one weekend we got a game in which our two conferences mean the most, right? Nobody told A&T to go to the CAA and entertain a juke and jive for Master them down the road. Nobody told Florida Memorial and Virginia State to be where they at in Division II, but unfortunately, guess what? And fortunately for them, that's just where they at. The Celebration Bowl should be about the two conferences, the SWAC and the MEAC. Moving forward, don't do this band ranking anymore, because I think anybody who looked at it figured out it was flawed somewhere down the line. It didn't make sense to a lot of people. And I'm not saying it because Southern wasn't in it. I'm just saying it because throughout the season, it just didn't seem right the way this thing was going. And we didn't get no true understanding on, not one time did we ever see the points to the public. We never saw the voting level. We never saw what this band got this money, what that band got that money. So you can go to hell with that moving forward. Don't do that no more, because every band is different. And because every band is different, it's hard to put this criteria to force everybody to kind of be the same. We got one drum major at Southern. Jackson State have 5. Some bands have flags. Some bands have majorettes. It's just the idea that there's a difference in every band. And for me, if we're going to do it, leave it to the people, because the people ultimately what's going to show up. And if it's up to me, leave it between the MEAC band and the SWAC band. If you want people inside that arena, focus on the two conferences that make up the conference game, make up the championship game itself. Next year, let's just pick 2 or 3 SWAC bands. Let's pick 2 or 3 MEAC bands if we really just want to do a Battle of the Band showcase. And let's do it after the game. Maybe the game already at 11 o'clock. A 2-day event for me isn't going to work. And then the idea that you waited to name the winner the next day. Come on, it was just a lot to dissect from this that did not make sense. But I know it was year one. Got a lot of non-band people that's trying to put together a corporate sponsored event and trying to do it the corporate big money way. But when it comes to our culture, you got to understand that culture and understand what it means in order for this to be a success. So moving forward, leave everything that they left on the table this year alone. Just pick 2 or 3 bands from each conference, because if we're going to spend the money, let's make sure every cent of that money goes back to the SWAC or the MEAC. That's the whole makeup of the Celebration Bowl. Why are we giving money out to A&T for them to take back with them, right? They chose to move out the neighborhood. Why are we giving money to Florida Memorial and Virginia State? Unfortunately, you know, good bands or whatnot, but they don't have nothing to do with this. This is the Celebration Bowl. The most familiar names are going to be the most teams, the most universities from these 2 conferences. And for me, that's where you stay. And just pick 2 bands and let the people pick the bands next year, and you roll from there.
You know what? When I heard some of your thoughts, when you first told me kind of what you was going to say, I was like, but once now hearing it, I kind of agree with you to the part of it like this, right? I know a lot of people are going to say, well, this is the accumulation of HBCU. But tell me how people will feel if you said, you know what? I don't want to spend Christmas with this family. I want to spend Christmas with this family, but you still want gifts from the family that you don't want to spend Christmas with. Like, I do think there should be some type of disconnect there, because you did choose, and it's nothing wrong with your choice. You're still Black. We still love you, but there's just certain things that we do over here that they don't do over there. And your decision to go over there is your decision. So I, you know, at first I was like, but then when I really thought about it, I said, that is kind of jacked up that you can dilly-dally in the white people space and then try to come back and be cool with the black people. Like, I'm like, you're like, hey, y'all mind if I play a little tune for y'all? You know what I'm saying? Like, bro, you know, can I cut in real quick? Like, realistically, right? And I talked to Smash about this. Realistically, how many bands did they really have to go against in the CAA? Because they really don't care about bands. So to me, it's like the real question, and Smash brought this up, and it really was profound to me. Did they go and watch NCAT go against those white bands? Did they grade them when they went on the road to a white school or a white school came to them? Were they there for that? Right? That's number one. I don't have a problem with Division II teams. I really don't, because I think that's a great showcase for them, right? I think that's a great look that now, like, I love Florida Memorial's band. I thought they were absolutely amazing. They gave me a new interest in them. So I do appreciate them getting the spotlight like they did. I think that's deserved. I do not believe NCAT deserved to be there because of the fact that you chose to leave the conference that is involved in said game. So you didn't. I need people to think about this. NCAT said, we're tired of winning the Celebration Bowl, but we want to participate in Celebration Bowl events. Does that make sense to anybody? Think about that. NCAT said, we good on this Celebration Bowl stuff. We good. We want to do the playoffs. We got hopes to go on Power 5. But then they get invited to come play at the Celebration Bowl. They're like, hey, I got a couple flutes. You know, there has to be some. Listen, you can say whatever you want, but there has to be some type of, you got to hold something to, like, hey, man, nah, you can't participate. You can't participate. That just is what it is. You can't.
I just think if you want to do a battle of the bands and you trying to do it with all them other bands that's outside of the MEAC and the SWAC, do that at another time. The Celebration Bowl is a celebration of the MEAC and the SWAC because it is those bands within that conference throughout the year that has generated the interest ultimately for this game. And if those bands were in this game with their football team, you will have that interest. So if you're going to have a battle of the bands, spend that money and give that opportunity to be seen for those bands in those two conferences on that platform. Because there are bands that are in the MEAC and in the SWAC that don't necessarily get a chance to be on the big platform as well. And if this game is all about spending money back into the conference, everything about this game should be money going back into the SWAC and the MEAC. Everybody else, you can go to the Honda, you can go to the Cracker Barrel National Battle of the Band, you can go to Mardi Gras, you can go wherever else they do this, but this should be strictly focused on the MEAC and the SWAC bands only, and keep that money amongst them. This ain't the time for everybody else. This is the time to celebrate, as the Celebration Bowl is, the MEAC and the SWAC. And for me, now that I saw it and I saw the lack of interest, keep it there, because there's no reason you do a Celebration Bowl band of the year and you got one band from both that represents the SWAC and the MEAC, and that was in Jackson State, and nobody else had nothing to do with neither the MEAC or the SWAC. And then you spending that money out amongst them when everything, every dollar about this game and every event should be going back to our conference and the member institution in the conference. That's just how I look at it now that I get a chance to analyze it and get a final thought.
No, I have a problem with that. Go ahead.
When you talk about winning, now if you watch the show, Jackson State messed up on their show. They messed up. A lot of people may not have paid attention to it. A lot of people may have just ignored it, but there was a mess up. And so if you're talking about, once again, not a fan favorite, but you got some people that's up there supposed to be voting and going on the chart, checking off things, in which, once again, talk to me. It has to be flawed because all season we never saw the voting numbers.
So you don't know how it's getting voted.
Right. We just saw teams placed in rankings and we didn't see the numbers that went with it. Right. And if you want the interest of the public, you got to be able to showcase it. But Jackson did mess up. There had to be a deduction for whatever it was. And then the other part was, you done brought all these bands from everywhere. We know it's no way you can do a battle of the bands, especially you got a SWAC band in the house, and you're not gonna let them play in the stands. That's the culture. You're trying to force them to play one song in the stands. Hey, y'all gotta go. We got a game tomorrow. Y'all knew damn well it was a game tomorrow. You got to create that event to where people pay their money. And I heard some of the tickets were high priced, where people get the full experience of what band battle is. And when you're talking about bands, and that's why I talked about the difference when you start to talk about the SWAC, the MEAC, and these others, there's a difference when you put a SWAC band in a competition, you put them in the stand, they're going to show you, hey, we do things a little bit different around here. And you got to give people that opportunity to experience that. And you can't threaten the bands in the meantime, telling them we're going to deduct 30 points. If you play another note, we deducting 30 points. At that point, I would have said to hell with it anyway, because you didn't even tell me who won tonight.
Facts.
So to me, it's just all of that together. You got to think a little bit better about this event. And you're talking about a band battle with 4 bands just to watch a halftime show on one song apiece. But that's just not for me enough in order to say this is an event that you want to move forward. And you got to name who's going to be in this battle of the bands the week
There is
before.
one other participant in the conference.
Smash wanted to call in. Sorry. Let me say this, because I see JB, and this, like, I don't understand how people can take it to something small and take it to an extreme. Nobody is saying that NCAT is not HBCU. That's not what we're saying. What we're saying is you said, NCAT said, we do not want to participate in the Celebration Bowl, but you want to participate in Celebration Bowl events. That doesn't make sense, period. There's no explaining that. Smash, coming to you.
Yo, Scotty, you can hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I didn't even look at it like that until y'all just said it. I promise I didn't. Yeah, that's crazy. That's how I mentioned that. But I'm gonna say this, man. It sounds like the NCAT and all the winners and everybody who participated in the event. It's not NCAT fault they got picked. You know what I'm saying? I'm on that side of the boat, but I do understand what y'all saying. My thing is bigger. Like everything that Perry was saying about, like, you know, how you gonna have a battle of the bands with a band like Jackson State and not give them a stand battle and try to kick them out the stadium. Scotty, like we talked about. I can say who VUU is and who Simmons College is. I bet 90% of this chat don't even know who Simmons College is. But y'all have an HBCU band ranking, and schools like that don't even get a chance to make it because, one, I know you're not looking off them.
Mm-hmm.
So when people make comments like y'all only pick the popular bands, that's exactly what the hell y'all did. And I don't care what nobody say. You're talking to somebody of the culture who I can give you a damn band ranking if I really wanted to. I can tell you 3-4 songs that every band play. Why? Because I'm going to every single band damn game at least once, twice, 3 times a season. So I just feel like they didn't take I appreciate the platform. I don't want to make it sound like I'm ungrateful. I do. But they didn't take the culture with them. You had commentators that don't know nothing about the band. You touching people's drums and stuff. You know what I'm saying? That's crazy. Like, it was so much disrespectful things that was happening at this damn competition. Don't talk about how they showed it. They don't know what camera angles to get. They got the dancers on the field. You showing the back of the damn drum strap. What? You know what I'm saying? Like, it was just so many things. I appreciate the platform, but if you're gonna do it, you got to do it for the people, and it can't be a damn money grab. You know what I'm saying? That's why that motherfucker was empty. Then you announced they having a stand battle the day before. If you just say you had a stand battle at least a week before, I promise you another 300-400 people would have been in that event. Simply reaching out to platforms. There's so many damn bad platforms out here to reach out to promote the damn event. It was just all over the place, Scotty. You know, I can go on and on. It just was, I low-key felt like the bands was like exploited, especially that part when they was kicking them out the stadium at the end. That's what we come for. You know what I'm saying? So you don't have, you announce the winners the next day. It was all over the place, man. It was, but like I said, like, you know, sometimes us as band people, we ask for a bigger platform and to be appreciated. And then when they give us the platform, I can say we could have came out and showed a little more love to it. But I do feel like it was like, here, y'all take this. Y'all come to us. You don't. And we going to put whoever we want up in here just because. You know what I'm saying? There's no slicing none of the bands because all the bands did an amazing job. But even I'm hearing from some of the bands that they experienced, the band members who participated, the experience is a waste of time. You already got these band members here at the end of the season when they're getting ready to go home. You don't think about that. You know what I'm saying? You don't think about none of their teams made it to the damn bowl game. And then, smarter thing, you could have at least invited FAMU and what you call them to participate in the mission. If you really want to do it for the culture, you know what I'm saying? The band's already in town. Why not use them? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Why not you let them come there for free?
Hey, Smash. How much did the bands get paid? Do you know?
They said the winner, the D1 got paid $100,000, and the winner of the D2 got paid $75,000. I'm not sure how much the rest of the bands got paid, but I mean that's what I'm happy they got paid. If anything,
okay.
You know, I don't know how much the minimum was.
Okay, that's it. All right, man.
Yeah. All right.
Appreciate it, Smash. Yeah, that white announcer was that white announcer was something different. I ain't gonna hold you. That dude was annoying. Yeah, and he was touching. He touched Virginia State dude's drum. What's that big drum they be banging like this?
The bass drum.
Yeah, you know, on drum line. Boom, boom. Yeah, he was touching his drum. So
man, let's just say this year you put Southern, Jackson, Bethune-Cookman, Norfolk, North Carolina Central, and hell, even if you throw Delaware State. How often do people get a chance to see Delaware State and Morgan State's band?
That's fair.
That's why this is important to showcase the bands from that conference, because people don't get to see them often. People don't get to see UAPB's band and Alabama A&M's band and Valley band as much. So that's why I say, for me, use this to showcase the SWAC and the MEAC only. And then don't do a poll where you got somebody voting. Let the people pick out of the SWAC and MEAC the 3 best bands throughout the season. And then whoever wins, you give $100,000 to the best band coming from the MEAC, and you give $100,000 to the best band coming out the SWAC. You talk about spreading the wealth? Show me to spread the wealth that way by supporting the schools, by what makes up the Celebration Bowl and putting it back into the conference.
Wow, I didn't see this. JB, coming to you.
Good evening, gentlemen. How y'all doing this evening?
What's up, Jay?
All right, folks. Thank y'all for allowing me to come on and whatnot. I just want to share the good and bad with you guys. First of all, let me start with the good. This was probably the best weekend of football I've seen in a minute. From the Celebration Bowl to the 2 playoff games to even to the D3 title game, that was a lot of great football being played this weekend. If y'all haven't checked out those games, please check all those games out. It was amazing. Now let me get to my bad. And Scotty, I'm gonna have to go there with this. Now bear with me for a second, folks. If you remember the last 2 to 3 years when FAMU joined the MEAC, everyone was kept saying, "Oh well, FAMU go back to the MEAC. FAMU go back to the MEAC. You ain't SWAC. FAMU go back to the MEAC. You don't belong here." And now all of a sudden, FAMU wants a Celebration Bowl. Now all these SWAC folks saying, "Oh well, the SWAC represented," but y'all basically act like you didn't want them for the last 2 to 3 plus years. Now you're claiming them? That's odd. I just found that kind of amusing. But then the other thing about the bands thing too, and and Pat won't disagree with you for a little bit. Here's the reason why I say this. Let's get to what this is really about. This is really about Jackson State, or like a school, Jackson State, Southern, anyone who's in SWAC, and of course, SWAC schools who are known for their bands. We all know this. This fan base in particular spent the last year and a half calling this school, who beat them in the Battle of the Bands, sellouts for joining to a PWI conference, saying they're not really an HBCU no more. And of course, the reason why I said that is because some idiot in the chat talked about A&T is no longer an HBCU because they joined another conference. That same school that they talked about not being an HBCU no more beat them in a halftime show Battle of the Bands. It seems like their pride was more hurt than anything else. And for now, we're talking about, well, celebrate making a SWAC. That's not how the game's been pushed. It's been pushed as celebrating HBCU culture. And it's been celebrating HBCU culture from day one. So now we're going to move the goalposts because a school that wasn't from the MEAC, from the SWAC, or should I say a school that was invited, that's no longer making the SWAC. Now they won. All of a sudden, people want to change the rules because one of their schools who have the most prize advanced in to win. What is this really about? Is this about the bands not being picked, or is it about who actually won? Or should I say who actually lost?
It's about the SWAC and the MEAC simply, is what I'm saying. It has nothing to do with nobody else. HBCUs, there are plenty of Battle of the Bands out there for HBCUs to be a part of. Nobody's saying you as a band or any school's band can't participate at a Battle of the Bands, But this is about the SWAC and the MEAC. Them the only two conferences that can play in the Celebration Bowl. Those are the two fan bases from all the schools from the MEAC and the SWAC that's showing up the most to support their teams. They want to see their schools. You know how you can get so many more people to the Celebration Bowl the next day when you bring in institutions from the member schools that are in both prospective conferences? You got people from all the schools coming to the Celebration Bowl anyway. I've been to the Celebration Bowl twice, and Southern's never been, but I've been to support. If this is about supporting the two conferences and saying spending our dollars and putting our money to the two conferences that's making the Celebration Bowl what it is in the first place, because them other conferences ain't promoting the Celebration Bowl all year. A&T and the CAA ain't promoting the Celebration Bowl and what's happening. Virginia State and Florida Memorial not promoting the Celebration Bowl all year. They benefiting from it. The two conferences with their member institutions are the one got it at the end of the schedule, and everybody is vying to be at the Celebration Bowl, promoting it at the end of the year. That's why I'm saying that money should be there. If you want to go be in the Battle of the Bands, there are plenty out there. Nobody's saying nobody's hurt because nobody's band was there. But if we're going to do this, let's represent the two conferences and the bands that make up that conferences, because there are bands within this conference that deserve to get that spotlight as well on the very stage in which they make up the Celebration Bowl.
But here's the thing about that, though, Perry. That's not how the Celebration Bowl has ever been built. It's always been built as a celebration of Black culture. It's always been built as that. So now all of a sudden,
That's
because they didn't get the result they wanted, now we're trying to say, oh, well, let's focus on these two conferences on. It's never been about that. It's always been about
if that's the case,
it's
Tennessee State, Hampton, and North Carolina A&T being Division I teams, would we allow them to play in Celebration Bowl?
Hold on. That's what it's really about. This is really about folks upset that a non-SWAC or non-MEAC school won. So all of a sudden it's like, oh, well, this isn't right. We need to keep to our two conferences.
Hey, hold on. Listen. Both of y'all can't talk at the same time. JB, finish your point, then Perry can respond. Go ahead, JB. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Sorry about this, guys. My bad.
No, you're fine. Go ahead.
My point is the fact it's like this has always just been about. Now it's like because of school that is not in the MEAC and SWAC space, win something. Now we need to quote unquote change it to just have participants from MEAC and SWAC only. We've always stressed HBCUs come together. We've always stressed in this game celebration of HBCU, celebration of HBCU culture.
Hey, let me.
Of course, I will say this though. Yeah, go ahead.
JB, let me ask you a question.
My bad. Go ahead.
Just let me ask you a question.
Sure.
If you were dating a chick, right, and you're driving a Honda, right, and she says, you know what, this has been great. I've been with you for the last 2 years. You know, I really want somebody who drives a BMW, right? So she leaves and she goes and finds a guy that drives a BMW, and then you get better. You know what I'm saying? And then you get to a BMW. Now she's like, hey, can I kick it with you again? You be like, hell no, you can't kick it with me because you left me when I was driving my Honda. Listen, I don't have no reason. I'm not going to, listen, I'm never going to tell NCAT that they shouldn't have left the MEAC. I'm not going to tell them that. But once you leave the MEAC, you should not be allowed to participate in Celebration and Bowl events. You can't have it both ways. That's just me personally, right? Because this is a Celebration Bowl event. It is part of the Celebration Bowl event. And they deliberately left for other reasons, but they did not want to be a part of the Celebration Bowl anymore. So how can you then allow them to just come back and play whenever they want? That should not be. You made your decision. And it doesn't mean that they're not HBCU because, like Perry said, you can participate in any Battle of the Bands you want, just not this one.
My only response to that would be the fact that A&T was invited. Just don't invite them. I mean, it's like that one ex-girlfriend. So my thing is, if there's a party, don't invite the ex-girlfriend to the party.
And that's what Perry's saying. That's what Perry's saying. He said it shouldn't include them. It should include SWAC and MEAC. I want to be very clear. Nobody's saying NCAT not HBCU. I hate when people say that. Just because they're in a white conference, they're like, oh, they want to be with the white. I don't care. If it was a financial reason they decided to make that move, all for it. Go get your money, boo-boo. But then you cannot double dip and back into a black conference that you poo-pooed and dipped on. You can't do it. That's my only.
So I guess the question now becomes, My bad. My bad. I guess the question I have though is that is this even a conversation if Jackson State went to Battle of the Bands? That's my point.
No, it still feel the same because you got to look at the attendance. It ain't about because this is nothing personal at the fact Jackson State did not win the Battle of the Bands. I think everybody just wanted to sit back and just let's see how this thing is going to turn out. As always, you got to sit back and watch when it's something for the first time. Now we evaluated and we saw there's a lack of interest and we saw what it really meant. It wasn't about Jackson State. This thing is bigger than Jackson State. And that's what I'm saying. This thing is about the MEAC and the SWAC. We got a celebration bowl, and we just gave $100,000 that could have benefited a school who's been promoting the celebration bowl, all of these institutions all season long. Hell, if Delaware State would have won, I would have been okay because I knew the money went directly back into the community that makes up the celebration bowl. That's all I'm saying. Tennessee State, Hampton, A&T can't play in the MEAC SWAC Challenge. They can't play in the celebration bowl. So in my opinion, why are we allowing the money that can benefit the very institutions that make up the celebration bowl to leave from one of the participating conferences that money can very well help? That's all I'm saying.
All right, that's fair.
Hey, appreciate the call, JB. Listen, see, this is the thing. You can't have it both ways, guys. This is what I'm saying. This is what I'm saying. The argument is you can't have it both ways. You can't call yourselves national champions in football when you only play each other, and then now if you don't have the best, if you don't include every band, you can't be the band of the year. No, you can be the band of the year in your conferences. Against those two conferences, you are the band of the year. It can still be an award. It doesn't have to include every single band. Just like you don't include every single HBCU for the MEAC and SWAC. It's literally the same thing. And listen, I don't like JSU for nothing, right? I don't like JSU for nothing. They didn't lose that Battle of the Band. I'm sorry. They outplayed NCAT in every possible way. Listen, you can talk about the drilling, the movement. I'm former military. I know all the crap you talk about, drilling and moving, whatever. It might not be band crap, but I know about drilling and moving. If we're talking about pure music, NCAT got washed. Absolutely washed. And nobody wants to see 36 girls spinning 36 flags in the middle of a damn field. Nobody wants to see that. Look like they trying to bring in a plane. Nobody wants to see that shit.
Clearly they didn't because the stands was empty.
Jesus, man. Jesus. God, man, that really burns me up, man. So I'm gonna take two callers. I'm gonna take these last two callers, and then we're gonna have to move on. Mr. Wilson and then Mr. DeGratia, I got you. Book, what's up?
That's good. And look, now what I was saying was, like Perry said, we don't even know how to. Now, I'm blue and white all day long, but we don't know how people got scored. So that's one thing. So now everything goes subjective. If you say I'm looking for the two best bands out of all year, then to me it's the Boom and the Jukebox, and it's not even close after that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm not even going to the. I think Perry brought up the most succinct point that, everybody kind of glossed over. If we going to do business like we're doing business, if it's a MEAC and a SWAC thing, we do a MEAC and a SWAC challenge. And it's only two teams that can go. But now all of a sudden, you include a whole bunch of other people.
Come on.
And the payout goes to somebody who's not really materially contributing to the financial base of the event. Then how does that go? It goes to the whole credibility of the event. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying people should get to the point where we go, sour milk, and if we get invited back or whatever, we're not going back, that kind of foolishness. But this is where, it is a 1 year one. We got to do a little better than that, to where people understand band rank, because it's all subjective. Because, when it gets to the point to where, at the end of the day, I grew up on certain band battles. I could care less about FAMU. They ain't got nothing for me. I don't really want to hear a band in a MEAC because they really don't sound the same. I'm always like that crunk shit. So I'm always looking for Alcorn, Jackson State, Southern, Grambling when they sound like something. But it's just got to be a little better. But the event kind of fell a little flat. And then you come out where, with people who you would presume aren't as in tune to it as you are, say, well, that really don't look right. You get the sideways puppy face. It just look a little off, man. That's all. But, at the end of the day, if you wanted something else to talk about other than football on that same weekend that's related to HBCU, anything, it was still a win. That's really all it. That's really all I want to say on that.
That's fair. No, I appreciate it, Book. Let me say this, and once again, I don't care two shits about no band. I feel like them Bamas are beyond the appetizer. Okay, they are hors d'oeuvre. My thing is this though, right? It's at the end of the day, I do agree with not being a stand battle. I agree with that, right? Because there are things that I do. I'm not a stand. It's like if somebody asks me to write, right? Somebody has, let's have a journalist of the year competition, and they make me write a page. Well, that's not my strength. My strength is in talking. My strength is narrating. So you want to play to both people's strength and who has the better overall in that. So I'm cool with marching and stands. I'm cool with that because, like you said, NCAP might be great at doing this, but Jack State's great at doing this. Let's see how it works out in an overall setting. So I'm never going to say only this and only that. I think it's going to go both ways. But if it's about at the end of the day, the reason you have instruments is to play music. And if we're talking about the musicality of what was done at the band, if we're talking about what was done musically with the band, Jackson State washed them simply off. You got it bad. There's not, I don't even know what NCAT played. It sounded like some elevator music. Like, if we're being honest, like the shit was ass, right? So to me, I don't understand. Like, how can not, at the end of the day, if you have an instrument in your hand, I don't care. Listen, if you have an instrument and you don't move, you still got to play. So the music should be the highest value rated. I don't get it. I don't understand it.
It was still to this day. You watched Drumline before?
Yeah.
I still don't know how A&T beat Morris Brown in that battle. To this day, I still ask that question. How did the hell did they beat Morris Brown? Morris Brown had the excitement, the culture, the flavor. Yeah, had Petey Pablo, keep up me against the wall, and A&T come out there, Flight of the Bumblebee, Michael Jackson, and even in the drum battle at the end, I thought Morris Brown won that with the intensity. Atlanta A&T throwing, that's basically what this was right here. This was Drumline where you saw Morris Brown versus Atlanta A&T and was wondering still to this day, how the hell did Atlanta A&T beat Morris Brown? That's how I look at it. But just moving forward, let's use the SWAC of the MEAC. Delaware State, Morgan State, all those schools can use that type of publicity the same way UAPB, Valley, Texas Southern, A&M, and whoever else, they can use that publicity as well. We ain't got to waste it trying to make room for the little cousins in Virginia Virginia State and Florida Memorial. Ain't nobody watching them. There's a time and a place for them somewhere else. Celebration Bowl ain't it?
Mr. DeGratier, coming to you.
Hey, this has been an amazing show. Thank you so much for having me on. I'm getting the likes up, people. I got a lot to say. I'll try to keep it short. So I'm going to ask everybody that's on this show tonight and our two hosts, did anyone attend the band jamboree?
What is that?
Exactly. So that is where the MEAC and the SWAC bands battle. It happens every morning, right before the Celebration Bowl, from 9 to about 11 o'clock. There's a battle of the bands outside. It's two high school bands, and then it's the MEAC band, and then the SWAC band. They go at it. About 4 songs each. So it happens every Celebration Bowl. I go and attend it, and I am a HBCU band YouTuber, and I've posted my content on Quasar Adventures if you want to go see it. But yeah, so those battle of bands are already in place, but you don't hear about it, right? Right, and this is why FAMU and Howard wasn't there, because they already did a battle of the bands before the game, right? Along with some other other high school bands, and it happens every year. So Scotty, you brought up some points. You're talking about you don't understand why you got dancers and all this stuff out there. So I'm not going to go into it in details, but they are called, I use the phrase band programs, and it doesn't necessarily is inclusive of all musicians. The things that I look at a high level are the drum majors, are the dancers, are the auxiliary, are the musicians. And then you got all the people who are in band but don't want to be in marching bands. You got the symphonic people who have to be out there because they got to get band scholarships. There's all these different types of people. And then you look at a Southern who has one drum major versus FAMU who had up to 10 drum majors. Southern has, the Dolls. FAMU has nothing. So, right, you got all these various different types of programs under the flag, under the pretense, under the title of a band program. But no school does it the same. And it gets complicated, and I'm going to leave it at that. I'm just, hey, under all these programs, they got different makeup and different diversity of what a band program equals. So talk about the band jamboree, talk about the scoring. So the scoring comes down to a couple of high-level things. What I mentioned, drum major, musicality, field show, dance routine, dancers, which is different from dance routine, stand battles. And typically in the past, this stuff has been posted online. The judges that we have this year, Dr. White, Dr. Little, these individuals have been doing it for years. They traditionally have been posting their scores over years. We can go find that stuff on the internet and find what they've done and what that looks like in the past. I looked some up real quick. I'm not going to go into that, but it's on the internet. You can find out what these scores and how the scoring works. It's posted. And then I just want to say, Perry, I wasn't on your side, but after you kept going on talking about the MEAC and the SWAC only, I agree with you on that. So this is how we got here. The architects of this, who put this ballot band together, Don Roberts, Dr. White, Dr. Little, John Grant, these individuals have been around marching bands forever. So HBCU bands has always been inclusive of HBCU bands. I never even consider it just making a MEAC SWAC Battle of the Bands. That's a really good point. And you all made some great observations, some great points. I'm in it here, but all the things that we can do better. For me, there's so many other Battle of the Bands. I mean, just in March, in the Dome, earlier this year, there was the HBCU All-Star Battle of the Bands. We had Norfolk, Bethune, I think North Carolina A&T was there, and it was 8 bands total. There was a whole bunch of bands there. We just did this in March. Here we go in December. Here we are in December. ESPN is trying to do the same thing. So you all brought some great points. It's got me thinking differently about some of these things. I really appreciate what you all had to say. But I just want to throw some of those things out there. A lot more to speak on. Like the show. Thanks so much, you all. Have a good night.
Appreciate it, Mr. DeGrasse. Listen, I'm going to say this before we go. My thing is very simple. Transparency always works, right? So to me, it's like, if you got a website for the Celebration Bowl, have a website for the Band of the Year so people can go click on it and look at the results and look how it's scored and all that type of stuff. You can go and you can print out a copy and do whatever you want. It's very simple. It's not hard. You know what I'm saying? So if band is that serious and you want to make it that serious and have it really, promote it and have it, have a strict regimen of scoring, whatever, whoop-de-doo, I don't care. But at the end of the day, I don't give 2 shits. I'm just saying, if you're going to do it right. And I don't think NCAT should have won. That shit was ass. Absolutely ass. They over here making geometrical shapes in the middle of the freaking field. Look like a weird butterfly and shit. Like, that jank was so whack, bro. I'm like, why? Why are we doing this? Why am I subjecting my eyes to this? It was horrible. And they got like 36 flag girls over there spitting a freaking yellow flag, then an orange flag. I'm like, it was the dumbest thing I've ever seen in my life. It was a waste of my life. It was a waste of my life minutes. What you got, P?
I'm over the band talk. I think we didn't hit home on that. Just listen to us, whoever a part of that next year. I hope you're watching. I hope anybody that's watching, send it to them. If they want some consulting, bring in somebody. I don't give a damn what people. I've been to more Battle of the Bands and band battles and behind the scenes with more bands than a lot of people. I know exactly what's going on. Hell, I do band media, so I know exactly how. Let's talk about that. The cameras, man. I'll move on. It's a lot. Bring somebody. Hey, bring me on. You bring my people on. We can come in. We can consult. We can talk about how we can make this thing better and what is for the people. I know what the people like. I'm around the people when it comes to about the bands, man. So.
Well, I'll say this. I mean, if you bring in YouTubers, if you bring in the band YouTubers, you're gonna bring in people just to want to see them, right? Like I didn't know who the girl was. I didn't know who the guy was that was MCing the whole joint. I didn't know who they was. You know what I'm saying? Now she was fitting those jeans pretty nicely, but I didn't know who she was, though. You know what I'm saying? I knew who the jeans were. I didn't know who she was. You know what I'm saying? So I was just like, who are you? I don't know who you are. And then you got Tiffany and Jay calling it like it's a football game. For what? This Bama really got his telestrator and circled the. I said, sit down. I'm sorry. That just didn't make no sense to me. That's my little 2 cents. All right, let's go to the FCS recap real quick. P, let's talk about these two teams. Woo! So you missed to break it down?
Oh, you saw that ass whooping at the bottom, them jackrabbits.
Very simple. Ass whooping.
That's South Dakota State. When I saw that runaway with, I said, man, look, they look unstoppable. But I think you have to look for a second consecutive week at Montana and the way that they find ways to get victories, right? Beating Villanova last week, then getting to North Dakota State this week. And listen, Montana is a team with grit, and to get that win over North Dakota State meant a lot. North Dakota State put an end to Montana State season, and Montana found a way to get it done. North Dakota State in this ball game, 19 first downs, 3 of 13 on third downs. They went 2 of 2 on fourth down, 332 total yards, 157 in the air, 175 on the ground. 0 turnovers by North Dakota State. But a balanced day in terms of offense. And on the other side for Montana, they had 20 first downs, 6 of 15 on third down. Scotty, 1 of 2 on fourth down, 284 yards, 160 in the air, 124 on the ground. Both teams, 0 turnovers in this ball game. And I love when I'm able to say a stat like that. Clifton McDowell, 16 of 30, 160 yards, a touchdown, also 12 carries, 17 yards. And Eli Gilman, 12 carries, 49 yards, 2 touchdowns for Montana. On the other side for North Dakota State, Cam Miller, 9 of 22, 157 yards, a touchdown. And Eli Green, 5 receptions, 98 yards, and a touchdown. This game went back and forth, and it went into double overtime. And Montana was able to find a way to kick a field goal and win this ball game in double overtime. And they are headed to the FCS National Championship game against the defending national champions at South Dakota State. This should be one hell of a ball game over in Fresno, Texas, once these two teams, Montana and South Dakota State, go at it.
Man, it's going to be a good one. That Montana-North Dakota State game was a doozy. And I'm telling you, if South Dakota State don't learn nothing else, they know not to punt to that Bama Bergman. Like, they're like, hey, man, listen, we're not punting to that Bama, okay? We are not punting to that Bama. I don't give a damn if you got to pick it out from the stands. We are not kicking to you because that boy is special.
And that boy and it showed with Montana how physical they are up front because North Dakota State will push you around, offensive line and defensive line. So Montana, to see them up front to hold their own, they really held up against them and really held their own when you talk about that front offensively and defensively because it is tough. I don't give a damn who you are to line up against North Dakota State each week.
Absolutely, and each drive as well. And I love this Jackrabbit logo. That jank is so fire, bro. I think that jank is absolutely amazing. So shout out to them, man. It's gonna be a great national championship down in Frisco. I believe my boy might be there. My boy Blue might be down there to attend down there in Frisco, do his thing. So shout out to that. All right, guys, listen. We got a special segment. Me and Perry came out with it. You already know it. It's graduation day here at the College of Outspoken. Perry, who we giving out degrees and who we handing out grades to, my boy?
Woo, it's gonna be some sick people today when they find out them invitations they sent out, they're gonna have to retract them. Woo. I've been at that point at the end of the semester. I've been waiting on that one grade from that one professor to let me know what I'm looking like moving forward. Because you know, at HBCU, sometimes you only get that class one time a year. It may be offered in the fall, but you can't take it in the spring, so you gotta wait till next. So if you got to graduate that one class, if you don't pass it, you got to try again next fall, and that's what happened because we got a little lack of teachers this semester. So where you want to start? We can start with the MEAC, and we can start with the SWAC, or we can start with the cousins. It does not matter.
I think I got us started with the MEAC first. We got the MEAC grades. See what we talking about right now. First up on the MEAC grades. It's not looking too good for Delaware State.
Yeah, that's when I'm like, bro, you know, you ain't even been showing up to class all semester. So don't even come to me asking me about extra credit. Don't come to me trying to make up tests. You knew what we was doing each and every Saturday, and that was playing football, and you didn't show up. Delaware State 1-10 on the season, 0-5 in conference play. Offense, they get an F simply because they only rushed for 1,200 yards on the season. And they only passed right a little under 2,000 yards for 1,995 yards, Scotty. Only 20 touchdowns on their entire season. That ain't going to get you no bonus points in this class. And on defense, they giving up 2,700 plus yards rushing and 2,100 plus yards passing for a whopping 52 touchdowns on defense. I'm sorry, Hornets. I have to see you again next fall.
I will have to see you. Listen, it's very simple for me. You know, Professor Perry, he gonna hit you with the stats. He gonna give you me. It's the eye test. I ain't see the effort. I never saw the effort. You come to class when you want to. You sleep during my lectures. You sleep during my tests. I didn't see the effort, so I'm failing you. You couldn't pass it when I gave it to you. You absolutely failed. And listen, I never liked Lee Hall in the first place. Let me be very clear. I've said that on numerous occasions. Thought it was a horrible hire. Thought it was too quick, too fast. So definitely giving them an F. Failure. I will see you again next year. All right, next up. Now, Perry, I'm going to need you to explain to me how you gave this offense an F.
I can start right now. Morgan State on the season, 4-6 overall, 3-2 in conference play. They rushed the ball barely over 1,000 yards on the season, 1,127 rushing yards, and they only passed for 1,381 yards. That is low offensive production when you're talking about barely being over 1,000 yards and passing and rushing. And guess what? Out of all the teams that we went through on offense, they scored one of the lowest amount of touchdowns, if not the lowest. They only amounted to 16 touchdowns on the season. You thought it was bad for offense for Delaware State, who had 20. When you only put up 16 touchdowns on the season, I have to grade you for that because no matter how much you think you can move the ball up and down the field, it's about getting into the end zone, and that's what they failed to do more than damn near any other team that we've been able to grade.
Now, my thing is this. I felt as though their defense had to give their defense an A+. Probably one of the best in the MEAC, probably best in FCS football, and they could compete at a high level defensively. But I knew their offense had been, how do you say, lackluster. But I couldn't see them I couldn't fail them. I couldn't fail them because there's just too much potential in Morgan State. When your teacher say, I see it in you. You just got to apply yourself. So for me, I'll let them move on. But, I'm like, hey, not every teacher's going to be like me. Okay? Not every teacher's going to be like me.
And it's okay. An F and a B, when I cumulative that out, you barely got through. You got a C. Congratulations, Morgan State. You need a C or above to pass my class. you pass. Just like that D with an A+, that'll get you where you need to go. A F with that B, you just barely got through, but I'll give you an overall as a C. Congratulations, you got a lot to work on offense. If you can remotely get that offense to at least a C and continue to build on that defense, hey, you might be one of the brightest students in the class next year.
Might be.
You got to study a little harder offensively, Morgan State. Right now, I don't like where you at. You ain't studied shit on offense.
All right, coming up. Listen, your dark horse, your sleeper student, as you say.
Should I begin?
Oh, please do, sir. Please
This is a
do.
student, when I saw him walk in the first day of class, I said, this student got a lot of potential. I looked at this student, and I said, something about this student can be special. But sometimes in life, you find out they just couldn't quite get over the hump. And I'm going to contribute this to a student that's just having issues at home, right? This had a little bit more than what the student actually was capable of. This is some things that was at home that just outside of my hands, I did not have anything that I could help. But this student, when they went home, there was just things that just distracted them from their work. Offensively, when I look at Norfolk State, overall on the season, 3-8, 1-4 in conference play. They rushed for 1,912 yards, almost a 2,000 rushing yard team. And that's what they did well when you look at that stable of running backs along with their quarterback. But passing the ball, 1,852 yards. They struggled on finding consistency at the quarterback position. But I will say the fact that they were right there in games, it was late in the games. And what I come around with this F defensively, that's what gave it up late in games in which they saw themselves on the losing end by 7 points or less in many games. Defensively, Norfolk State, 2,271 rushing yards you given up on the season, along with 1,879 passing yards, with a whopping 40 touchdowns, Scotty. I judge that, but when you give up touchdowns, because those touchdowns matter when it's time to win the games, and because of that, they got an F, and because of the lackluster passing offense, they got a C. They could run the ball, but Norfolk, with that record, 3-8, 1-4, you get an overall grade of D in my class. Norfolk, I have to see you again next year. A lot of potential. I can see your upside, but you need to come see me during the summer. Maybe I can teach you some study habits.
You know, I had a problem with this student from the beginning. He would come in my classroom screaming, and I said, behold, your ass has failed. And I say, behold, your ass has failed. He had a problem with it. So I had to remind him, listen, it's very simple. And defensively, they never had a chance in my class. But offensively, it was the carousel of quarterbacks. It was the carousel of running backs. I understood that you were young. I understood that you were trying to grow. But once again, I say, you have to pick somebody. Okay, you have to pick somebody, and you got to ride with them. And it never seemed to go their way. And losing to a Division II, I say again, you lost again. So for me, Norfolk, bright student. I see it in them, but I'm gonna have to see you again next year. I'm gonna have to see you again next year. And I don't want to hear no more. Behold and sit your ass down and learn something next year. Do you understand? Okay. Just want to make sure you understand. All right. It's one of my favorite students right here.
This student taking this class many times. A student that was a little older than everybody else, you know, came back and wanted to do something with their life. Seen this student many years, and the student has finally got over the hump, Scotty. And when I say finally, this is one of those students where they needed that last grade in order to graduate, and it took at the last second. And I looked overall at South Carolina State's offense, 2,479 rushing yards on the season. Jawan Howe, my God, I hate they lost this kid, but he was everything they needed. Struggled from the quarterback position. South Carolina State 5-6 overall, 3-2 in conference play. Just a horrible passing game. 1,300 395 yards passing on the season to 34 touchdowns. And defensively is what helped save them in my class this semester. They only given up 1,332 yards rushing and giving up 2,213 yards passing to 33 total touchdowns. I thought that was modest. And because I'm being very nice to this student who I've seen many, many times, South Carolina State, you barely, with a D and a C, pass my class. You get an overall grade of C. Congratulations. You can graduate.
You know, it's sometimes, you get a student where they just struggle. They just struggle in one area. They can get this, but they just can't get that. And with this student, it's always the offense. The offense just seems to be a void of them. They just can't. They get geometry, but they just can't get that algebra. You know what I'm saying? They get that algebra too, but they can't get the calculus. They just can't understand it. So for me, not to see them again, I just had to give them a passing grade on offense because I was like, listen, you've been here too many times. We've rode this ride too many times, and at this point, I just feel like you're not going to get it. So, my man, I will pass you and move you along, okay? No kid left behind on this one. So
this was like senioritis a couple years ago. This was one of our best students.
Yeah.
One of our best, a scholar. And now they're just like, I'm just trying to get up out of here.
Just trying to get up out of here. And then now they got a new head man in charge. We'll see how they bounce back. All right. Moving forward. Woo-wee! Listen. It is hard in Professor Perry's class. An F? Jesus, you have to explain that one.
I will. North Carolina Central. Overall, 9-3 on the season, 4-1 in conference play. Offensively, hey, man, study. 1,882 yards rushing to 2,616 yards passing for a total of 54 touchdowns on the season. That is the most of any team in the MEAC, man. I have to say congratulations. That means you can score points. That means you can put them up anytime you need it. But defensively, this is where the F came because I saw struggles. And a lot of times it got masked over because of what they were able to do offensively. And remember, non-conference, there were some shootouts. There were times where it was simply the offense having to outscore the other team. It wasn't complete dominance. And defensively for North Carolina Central, they gave up 2,150 yards rushing. That's the third most in the conference, behind Norfolk State and Delaware State, mind you. 2,357 yards passing. That's the most of any team in the conference, Scotty. When you're talking about giving up in the passing game, and they gave up 44 touchdowns defensively. That is the second most in the conference behind Delaware State. All of those stats for me put them in the F category because simply it was their offense that got them through. When you put your stats up and you're near the bottom with Delaware State and giving up touchdowns and passing yards, you're not going to pass if Delaware State, I gave them an F. I got to hold you to the same standard defensively.
Ooh, man, that's a tough one right there. Listen, I'm not as hard because I saw the effort. I saw them put the effort in on the defensive side. Now, they couldn't get over the hump, but they always did just enough to pass, right? Until they came back to bite them against one of the biggest matchups against Howard. But overall, I would rather see my student get there, right? And then at the moment they need to get a stop, they get a stop. Than like your dark horse student that could never close out the game at the end and end up getting scored upon. So that's why for me, I have to take it to the C+. B offensively, definitely great student, great upside. It was fun having them in my class. I love to see what they do in the near future.
And they still pass for sure. That A and F give them a low B. Congratulations. I mean, you almost got to see because you
a low B. What type of math is you doing?
Look,
an A and F gives you a B.
Yeah. What's your overall grade?
Probably a high C, like 79, 75, right? But
that A made up for a lot. That A was big. That A was big. That A was really big, but it was how they finished the season. They only won one of their last two games. They still passed though. Congratulations, North Carolina
but
State.
it shouldn't be a B though. It should at least be a C. A and an F should be a C.
It's my class. Remember this. I mean, I don't give a damn what you and nobody in the comments say. Y'all can grade how y'all want. It's my class. That's the beauty of it. That's right. It ain't got the math for you. I passed them. There they go.
Okay, well, man, listen, that's one of them things you be like, hey, I'm good. I'm just gonna walk out here, answer no questions. I'm gonna take my B and roll. All right, here we go.
Come on, man, I curve.
Yeah, that's a heavy curve.
Yeah.
All right, go ahead, Professor Perry.
All right, the Howard Bison. This was a student starting off the season. Look, I was ready to write them off. I was looking at them, just like this. Like I don't see what my Conrad and fellow professor Scotty sees in this student, right? Every week you study telling me, man, this student can do it. This student can do it. And I'm looking at this student, I'm saying, I don't see it. But it comes a time when you get to the midterm and you have to sit down with that student at the midterm and say, look, Howard, you've been bullshitting, and I got to keep it real. You have not been doing your best in order to get over the hump. You've been just getting by. And Howard found a way to get over that hump. 6-6 overall on the season, 4-1 in conference play offensively. Mustered up over 2,000 yards rushing and passed for 2,300 yards plus. They put up 43 touchdowns on the season offensively. That is the second most of any team in the MEAC, right behind North Carolina Central, in which I got to have to give them a B. And then defensively, they gave up 2,121 rushing yards to 1,714 passing yards to 32 touchdowns. I got to give them a B because what I did like about them, their defense kept them in games in the turnover ratio. And that matters when you look at the turnover ratio and you look at this team. A lot of teams give up a lot of yards and touchdowns because they can't force turnovers. But Howard was in a position in the turnover ratio where it saved them, and they made up for a rocky start in the season against tough opponents to really push up late in the school year. And when you talk about the final exam at the Celebration Bowl, thoroughly impressed because it was simply their defense that kept them in that game when their offense was struggling behind Quentin Williams. And for that, Howard, I can't believe I'm giving you a B. Congratulations. You passed my class, and you shocked me. I didn't see this one coming. It took me a long time to believe in you, but you forced me and you made me believe in you.
I crown myself as a deep thinker, and I see it before it happens. I knew this student had potential. They just couldn't put it together, and you wanted to block your eyes to see it. But I tried to enlighten you every week as my compadre. The one thing I have to say defensively, they just never passed the eye test for me. It was just always something I felt like, I couldn't put my finger on it, but I didn't believe in it. Offensively, they were legit. I knew their quarterback had some problems, but offensively, that running back room definitely held up his own. Definitely a passing grade for this team. I was very high on this team. I was very high on this student. So at the end of the day, they're definitely graduating my class. Just curious to see after the Celebration Bowl loss how they bounce back offensively, losing their signal caller. But this was one of my bright students. I was glad to see what they look like at the end of the year. All right, let's get to these CAA grades. It's not too many of them, but we'll start off. Very quick class. It's an elective. All right.
But this African American studies.
It's a filler. All right. What you got? Well, we pretty much the same on this one. So
yeah, Hampton started out very strong on the season. Overall 5-6, 3-5 conference play. Started out strong. This was a team that was in my top 5 black college football teams. In the first early weeks of the season, Christopher Zealous, their quarterback, I was a big fan of his. And I think people can go back and you can attest to it as well, Scotty. I talked about him because I liked his dual threat ability. And then when you look at their running back position, when you look at them offensively, it was the inconsistency at offense, which is giving them a C. 2,380 yards rushing on the season. That's a lot of yards on the ground. But when you talk about not being able to match that passing, only passing for 1,570 yards, 33 touchdowns on the season offensively. Defensively, this is where they struggle for me, and I have to give them a D. 1,753 yards rushing they've given up. They gave up a whopping, check out their secondary. 2,687 passing yards on the season with 46 touchdowns. I gave them a D. They barely, I really wanted to give them an F, but it was the strong start. But my God. But guess what? They got to retake this class again. Hampton, as a Pirate, I'll see you again next year. You got a D in this class, and as you know, you need a C or above in order to pass my class.
Listen, I was super high on Hampton's offense. I and me and you both alike were very high on this student in their conference, in this class, knew that they would be ahead of their other counterpart. So I'm disappointed, to say the least, of how it ended. But I will say that offensively, I think that carried them over to getting a passing grade in my class. I will have to, when I tell you they barely passed, I'm talking about 70.9. Okay. They by the skin of their teeth, but that offense was something special when it was clicking with Elijah Burris and the quarterback and those guys back. They had something special. I let them get through this one because I see it coming. I think that student has potential. I think the next class up, they can really be a shining light to others. So yeah, they passed.
5-6, 3-5 in conference play. I got to see you again next year. You're going to have to prove to me at least flip that 3-5 to 5-3, or at least get 500 in conference play. You gave him a 70 barely. I gave him a 69.
Woo! Yikes. That's the difference between Professor Scott class, Professor Perry class, boy. You could be moving on, you could be sitting back. It's all now to their counterpart.
Worst student I ever had, Scotty. I'm talking about absolute worst student. Look at the student's face. Doesn't that student look mean as hell? Does that student's face right there look like you want to look at it? Just look. Look at that mean joker right there. Mugging us.
Yeah. He never came with the right mentality. Never came with the right mentality.
Didn't even sign the role. Just walk in when they want. Let's talk about them. The Bulldogs. Are they the Aggies, excuse me. Whatever y'all want, whatever dog you want to be, you need to work hard because right now there's no respect for you. North Carolina A&T, 1-10, 0-8 in conference play. Don't I sound disappointed as a professor? Cannot believe you walked your ass whenever you wanted into my classroom, offensively only rushing for 1,724 yards and only passing for barely over 1,000 yards on the season, 1,154 yards to be exact, and then have the nerve to only score 17 touchdowns.
Perry, 17. And then they begged to be in my class. Begged.
Defensively giving up 2,498 rushing yards on the season and almost 2,000 yards passing with 1,962, giving up 39 total touchdowns. A&T, don't even look at me. Don't even look at me. You know better. You chose this hard class. You chose this class for a reason. You could have been in the MEAC doing your thing. You chose this class. You wanted the AP and then didn't give me no effort. So for that, I have to fail your ass. I'll see you next fall.
Oh, it was very simple for me. I knew from the jump that once they asked to be in my class, I knew they didn't have the passion to do it. Because I told them this isn't a class for everybody. But then still, they forced their way on the roll. They forced their way into my class, begged, ball, and steal, got into my class, and then this is what they wanted to show up with, which I knew would happen. Listen, don't invite your mama. Don't send out no graduation tickets because you ain't walking.
Nah.
Because you ain't walking. Nah. I'll see you again next year. Very simple. All right. Let's get into these Swag West grades. Listen. Let me pop it off right here. And as you can see, I got a nice little sticker right on that. I'm gonna need you to see me after class, right? Because
the sticker, I ain't seen that one in a long time. Is that one of them scratch and sniff stickers?
You know, I feel for him. You know what I'm saying? Because it's one of those students where you just like, you know, I see that you come, you know, you got holes in your shoes. You know what I'm saying? You ain't got a book bag, or you're missing utensils, you're missing paper. It's a lot going on than just not knowing the information, right? It's some things going on at the house. And let's just have a conversation, see what I can do to help. You know, yes, you're failing. Yes, you're going to have to see me again next year, but let's just see what services we can provide to see if we can get you right. Because offensively and defensively, you're just not doing it. You're just not doing it. So just a nice little, you know, that's when you, how you do it, you know, how you do it, P, you know, you pass it around, you hit him with the, you know, you hit him with the, you hit him with the phone and Jay, and you know, just, hey, just come see me after class. You know what I'm saying? We'll talk about it after class. You know what I'm saying? But go ahead, P.
I'm the same way with you. This is one of those students where it's more than the classroom. It's got to be something at home. Like, they're trying, you can tell they want to, but maybe they're not getting the support at home when it comes to homework, when it comes to having Wi-Fi, when it comes to being able to have structure and stability of a home to be able to study in that environment. And that's what seems to be going on with UAPB. They just don't seem to have the support in order to help them be successful that the way they want. They dream big. When you listen to them, they're great speakers and motivating, but they just don't have the backing in order to continue. Offensively, 1,484 yards rushing, 1,689 yards passing, 22 touchdowns on the season. And I'm being generous because I know where they're from. I know Pine Bluff. I know it is a tough place. So that's why I got them a D. This is my class. I have a look and pass. I know a lot of people see me as a failure. They say this dude don't got no compassion. I got to look and pass because I know where they're from. I've been there. I went to UAPB. That's why I left. The environment wasn't conducive for what I needed to grow. So I understand their efforts of wanting to try. But defensively, you gave up 2,142 yards rushing and 2,750 yards passing to 44 touchdowns on the season. I got to give you an F. And overall, I'm sorry, UAPB. Sorry, but not sorry. I got to flunk. You went 2-9 on the season, 1-7 in conference play. You only beat one Division I opponent the entire season, and that was the last game of the year against Texas Southern in a hard-fought second-half comeback. Other than that, the only other game you won was against Miles College, and you got blew out by a lot of people this year. You got to come back next year. That's an L.
Yeah. We'll talk, and we'll get the services set up that they need and make sure they get right. All right. Next up, you know, let me say this. The one thing I didn't like about this student is that the student thought it was smarter than what it was. That was the issue with me and this student. It came in very braggadocious, like, do you know who I am? I'm such and such student. And I'm like, no, I don't. And why should I? That's what really bothered me about having this student in my class. But go ahead.
Coming in class with designer bags, pulling up in foreign cars, and thought just because of their name, I was supposed to just give them credit because of who they are. I get it. You're Grambling. All right. I heard about you before, but I had a chance to see you with my own eyes this semester. Let me tell you, for a second there, you almost had me fooled. So I found out them bags was fake. So I found out them cars was rented. When I realized you wasn't who you said you were, it was all for the gram. And I had to learn it the hard way as the season progressed. You went to Alcorn, and you never was the same after that. Grambling, 5-6 on the season, 4-4 in conference play. At one time, you were at the top of the SWAC West after you beat Prairie View. I thought you was finna do something. Miles Crowley, your quarterback, looked like he was about to ascend to be that guy in this conference when you talk about quarterbacks. 1,784 yards rushing, 2,343 yards passing, 38 touchdowns on the season. I like that about you. That's what I do like. But let me tell you what I don't like about you. I don't like your defense. I don't like how soft you are. I don't like what you give up. 1,932 yards rushing, 1,992 yards passing. You gave up a whopping 40 touchdowns. You gave up actually more touchdowns than you scored offensively. I gave you a D. Overall, you passed, barely. I'm going to give you a passing grade. You get a C. But you're going to have a lot of work. You right there. I'll give you. You was at 500 in conference play, 4-4. But hey, you got to bring and work your shit next semester because I ain't going to let you slide.
Listen, it's very simple. The reason I know a lot of the constituents around here are asking me, Professor Scotty, how did you do an F+? Because they did it. They went down in flames so beautifully. It's like when you fail, at least go down. Like I think Key's grandma used to say, if you're gonna go to hell, go into hell in a handbasket. Like have fun doing it. And that's what it felt like with Grambling. Defensively, they had fun failing. Defensively, they had fun burning it up. And that's why they got a failing grade, but I got to give them a plus because they did it so well. just how the way you allow Bama's to just magically lose games, like you let a quarterback run for 190 yards knowing he can't throw. Magically fail. Like you just did it with Barnum and Bailey. Just got a whole circus behind how you failed. It doesn't make any sense to me, right? So for me, it's an F+. They do not pass this class, right? They will have to see me again because of the simple fact about how bad defensively I just needed. Listen, the thing that bothers me most about this student is I didn't need much from you on the other side to have you pass. That's how bad you were. You were so strong in one area that all I needed you to do was try on defense. You couldn't even do that. So now I'm going to see you again next year. Write that up. I'm going to see you again next year. If you're going to go to hell, go all the way. Don't tiptoe in. And that's what Grambling did. If you're going to flunk, flunk in style, okay? Flunk in style. And that's exactly what they did. Moving on. Let's talk about that team down in Houston.
Modest. That's the word. Let's just say it with me, Scotty. Modest. That's one word that I can say embodies the Texas Southern University Tigers football program. 3-8 on the season, 2-6 in conference play. Offensively, 2,100 rushing yards, 2,000 passing yards for 35 touchdowns on the season. Jace Wilson, hey, caught me by surprise. SWAC newcomer of the year. The running back, give me his name. Owens.
Ladarius Owens.
You say tomato, I say tomato. A lot of people think he should have been up for the SWAC Offensive Player of the Year right there with Jeremy Musa. This kid could really do it. I said on the back end, I think one of the things that hampered him was the touchdowns. I just thought he had the yards, but he didn't have the touchdowns to go with it. But defensively, Texas Southern giving up 1,936 rushing yards and 2,238 passing yards for a whopping 46 touchdowns on the season. They get a D. And because they went 3-8 and 2-6, and I'm going to cut them some slack, but not all the way because I knew they lost their star player in Andrew Body. They had to fire their coach. They had a bright spot in Jace Wilson stepping up to the plate, winning SWAC Newcomer of the Year. And with Owens doing everything he could to keep this team on his back, but they still ended up 2-6. They beat Alcorn for the second consecutive year in a row. They pushed Southern. They pushed FAMU. But pushing them wasn't enough. And because of that, you get an overall grade of a D. This is where I give you a 60-something. Like you could have had something special. You could have had something special. But you're going to have to see me again next year.
What was tough about this student is I raved about this student. I raved about this student. I knew the potential that this student could be, and I saw it in him. I have to be honest, I didn't see that Ladarius Owens was going to become what he became, but I did know that they were talented. And I did know this offense had weapons with Quay Davis and AJ Bennett and Ladarius Owens and Andrew Body as a starting quarterback. I knew they could do damage. So offensively, I had to give them a B offensively for what they did, what they produced, and what they could have done. The D has to be in certain factions of games. You gotta close it out. You got to close it out when you have it. When you have FAMU down by 2 touchdowns. When you have, when you're going toe to toe with Jackson State and you got to get a stop. Like, you got to close those games out. So for that, they got a D. But what I will have to do based off what they lost and what they were able to do, I got to pass them. Got to pass them. I mean, beating potentially the SWAC champions, SWAC West champions, and the way they did it, got to give them credit for that. And as hot as Alcorn was at the time coming into that game, got to give Texas Southern credit for that. Got to give credit for how they played Jackson. Got to give them credit for how they played FAMU. Very, very tough out for any team. So definitely got to pass them on that 71-72 range, but they'll definitely be passing my class. They did everything they could. I can deal with a student that gives me everything. And I feel this student gave me everything they had. And I can respect that.
They got to see me again. 2-6 in conference play. I can't let that slide.
All right. I'm very curious about these skewed numbers.
Southern, a student I know oh so well. A student that I have studied with, a student that I had high hopes for myself, right? 6-5, 5-3 in conference play, 6-5 overall. Offensively, struggle. When I look at that O-line, when I look at the quarterback play, when I look at the offensive play calling, 1,231 yards rushing to 2,372 yards passing, 30 touchdowns on the season. And Scotty, I'm not going to lie. I kind of juggled this one between a D and a C. I really did. Between a D and a C. It was back and forth, right? And I went ahead and gave him a C. But then defensively, this is the thing that's really been working well for them. 1,446 yards they've given up rushing to 2,161 yards passing. One of the lowest numbers of touchdowns given up in the conference. They only gave up 25 touchdowns in the conference. On the season when you talk about defensively. That is one of the lowest outside of with FAMU's defense and with Bama State's defense. I got to give them a B because of that. They stopped teams coming to get into the end zone, particularly on goal line plays. Go back and look at Southern throughout the year. If you had to go goal line and had to get in the end zone, they forced you to not get in there. And I have to give them a B because of that. Southern at 5-3, 6-5, you pass barely. You better be glad you won the Bayou Classic because that's what got you. You got that 70%. Congratulations. But guess what? This one of them students I hold in high regard. Don't come in my class selling yourself short no more because I call your mama. I know your mama. I know your daddy. I know all your folks over there in North Baton Rouge and Skylandville. Okay? I know where you're from. So they say I'm sleeping with the mama. I grew up with the mama and with the daddy and with the whole family. I've been over there and ate dinner many days. All right. But they give them a C.
What happens when you have an appropriate relationship with students? You know what I'm saying? You feel like you can't grade them like they should. I
didn't say I was having an inappropriate relationship. I said I know they fit. You know this always. You never had somebody who said, "Boy, I know your folks." Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know your folks. So
you didn't want them folks to come over there and tell you why you failed my son. That's really what it is. Why you didn't pass my son?
Well, me and your daddy used to play ball back in the day, so
I'm gonna let it slide. That's what this is.
Pops used to play ball back in the day, so I
listen. Very simply is this student right here is the type of student that answers the test fast, tries to be the first one done, and half the paper wrong. Half the paper's wrong. You like, I know what I'm doing. I don't have to study. Yes, you do. Because offensively, you were ass. You were atrocious offensively. You had no identity. You didn't know if you wanted to throw. You didn't know if you wanted to run. You didn't know how to use your proper skill players. You didn't know any of that. And then defensively is the only thing that saved you. But if we look at the teams that you lost to, they weren't great offensively. You lost to Alabama State. They weren't great offensively. You lost to Jackson State. They weren't great offensively. Right? So now what does that defense do for you? You beat let's talk about the sorry teams that you beat. Lincoln, all the gimme games, UAPB, putting up massive points. You know what I'm saying? Flossing on the open book test. You know what I'm saying? What are we talking about? So for me, for where this student wants to be and sees himself going, you got to come back in my class because you didn't do right the first time. So no, you don't pass this class. So I'm going to see you again next year. Hopefully you can get your shit together and be what you're supposed to be. But until then, hey, yeah, it's going to be a long summer. It's going to be a long summer for you. Long summer. Very simple.
Better be glad I know your daddy, boy.
Wow. I would hate to be them in your class. Continue.
Prairie View? Is that who you say you would hate to be?
I would hate to be them in your class. F for defense?
Yeah.
Jesus.
I'll tell you why. Prairie View 6-2 overall. Offensively, I was not a fan of them this year because we talked about it. They put it on the video of me talking about Trayvon Conley. And I just told you I was not quite sold on him. And I expected more out of their run game. On the season offensively, Prairie View rushed for 1,924 yards, 2,118 yards passing. A low output, though, on touchdowns. It was tough for them to get into the end zone. 28 total touchdowns on the season offensively. But this is where the F comes in part to Prairie View. If you go back throughout the season and you look at them defensively, especially in their pass game, their pass defense, they were near the bottom in terms of the entire season, near 11th and 12th, 10th, 11th, and 12th the entire season. And I'm going to tell you why when you hear how many yards they've given up. More than any other team I've seen this season in black college football. Defensively, they gave up 1,695 rushing yards. Do you know how many yards they gave up passing, Scotty? Give me a wild guess.
2,000.
3,058 yards with 44 total touchdowns. 3,000 yards. No other team across the HBCU Division I landscape has given up 3,000 yards passing to nobody on the season. With 44 total touchdowns, you only scored 28 touchdowns and gave up 44 touchdowns. You talk about there was a 2-week span where they only scored 7 points because defensively they allowed everybody to score, right? Houston Christian, FAMU. What was it, 30-7 and then 45-7? 30-0 and 45-7? And that carried right on over into the SWAC championship in which the ass whooping commenced. So because of that, Prairie View, you got a C and an F, but you talking about you hate to be in my class. They better be glad they was in my class because even though I absolutely hated them with that F defense, I gave them a C. I gave them a C. I'm talking about I sneezed from a 69.9 and it just so happened to turn into a 70. And that's what they got.
I love the statistics because it really breaks down the problems that PV had, but you can't despise their record. 6-2. I mean, what else can I ask for but you getting the job done? It might not have looked pretty and you giving up a lot of yards to make it happen, but is the point of it not to win? And they did that and ended up in the SWAC West Championship. Now, I called them fools gold. I knew the student was cheating. You know what I'm saying? I knew he was sneaking in answers, but I could never prove it. I knew it, but I couldn't prove it. So got to give them credit for being sneaky. So C+, they got by. You know what I'm saying? kudos, 76. And we'll see them next year. After see them in the higher class. So hopefully they
Prairie
get
team, they cheating. And when you the teacher, every time you look up, they looking up at you. And you like, what the hell is everybody else trying to figure out the problem? Every time I look up, you looking at me because you're doing something you ain't got no business doing. That's Prairie View.
All right. Last one in the SWAC West.
Alcorn, Alcorn. The BBBs, the Big Bad Braves, as they call themselves. 7-4, 6-2 in conference play. Offensively, they racked up 1,554 yards. This wasn't the running offense of Alcorn that we've seen in the past, right? And I was a little worried that they weren't going to be able to figure this out early on in the season when they were struggling in the passing game with Aaron Allen and couldn't really find where they wanted to be with an identity. But then they figured it out, and Aaron Allen and that offense got things rolling. They ended up amassing for 2,296 yards passing. But still, the low output in terms of offense when you talk about touchdowns. Only 27 touchdowns on the season. That's one of the lowest outputs. They may have the yards, but it's one of the fewest outputs when you talk about total touchdowns of any offense in the conference. Defensively, 1,547 yards rushing. They're giving up to 2,185 yards passing, 28 total touchdowns. For me, overall, they were just a modest team. 7-4, 6-2. They were able to beat Grambling. They were able to beat Southern. They were able to beat Prairie View. I give them a C because when it mattered most, though, on the biggest test of the season, and which I thought was the easiest test on the semester against Texas Southern, they fell flat on their face, and it cost them a SWAC Western Division title.
The thing for me is you have to give this student credit for how it looked, right? They hadn't looked this explosive in a long time. And the way that they were able to change their identity in the middle of the season, I mean, kudos to them. Kudos to the coaching staff. Kudos to the student. Defensively, they were okay. They weren't bad. They weren't awful. They were good. They were solid. I think they led. They were either number 1 or number 2 in interceptions in the FCS. So they did what they were supposed to do. This was a solid student that I thought was going to go all the way this year. Still graduating the class at a high level, but I still think they left some stuff on the table. This student could have got a way higher score if they would have just applied a little bit more and didn't take a week off and think that it was going to be easy. Oh, I studied and then you slip up, you fail a grade, you fail a test. So definitely gave them a low B, 80, 81.
And I made a mistake. They did not beat Prairie View. Prairie View did beat them, right? Yeah. So they lost to both Texas schools. So because of that, hey, I had to go back and look at my grade book. And I saw that loss to Prairie View. So yeah, Alcorn was just a modest team. Congratulations on the big win at the end of the season against the team who thought they was going to whoop up on you. You were able to get that done up in Jackson, Mississippi, but you passed. I give you that. Now can you hold on to everything? And we're going to find out tomorrow what that's going to look like.
Absolutely. All right, let's get to the SWAC East. Our last grades of the year. It's been a fun one. Here we go. I really had fun grading these papers. Really did. It's one of my favorite classes to teach. All right. First up, that school down in Daytona.
Looked like we were about on par with this one. 3-8, 2-6 in conference play. Bad offensively. Only rushed for 1,381 yards and only passed for 1,483 yards for a total of 23 total touchdowns. Wasn't enough offense to get them over the hump at no point in this season to put them in the conversation. Defensively, gave up 1,848 yards rushing, 2,304 yards passing for a total of 33 total touchdowns. F and a D, they get a D overall. Bethune-Cookman, you got to come back and see me next year. I hope you can improve But right now, this just not is not your time.
The one thing I've come to my time being a teacher is sometimes I wonder, is college for you? Right? Like, it's college for you? Because some people don't need to be in college. Some people don't need to be in school. Get a trade, you know what I'm saying? Become a plumber and an electrician. So not everybody deserves to get a college degree. And when I think about this head coach, I don't think everybody deserves to be a head coach either. Not everybody deserves to be a leader of a program. And I just never was on the bandwagon for this student. I just never saw what others saw in this student. And they showed it on the field of why I didn't approve of the hire in the first place or what this team could be. So very simply, F and a D. Nothing more to say. They are who I thought this student would be, and I'll see them again next year. I hope I can convince them to, do something different. But if I can, I'll just see them again next year. All right. Next up.
We had some bad students in this class this semester. I think maybe the curriculum was probably just a little too much for them. I think the acceleration of what the assignments was just too much. They were always late turning in things, right? Or just didn't turn it in at all. Always complained via email about why they couldn't make this. It was always an excuse, right? I can't make the test today because of my dog. Can't make the test tomorrow, my fish died. I can't make the test because I had to cut the grass. I just got tired of the excuses, right? And when I look at Mississippi Valley, 1-10 on the season, 1-7 in conference play. You want to know something? The only team in the SWAC and the only team in black college football that did not rush for over 1,000 yards. They rushed for 986 rushing yards on the season. Passed for 1,755 yards. The fewest touchdowns of any team offensively at 16 total touchdowns offensively. Defensively, they gave up 1,855 rushing yards to 2,370 and 2,316 passing yards with a total of 36 total touchdowns. Give them a D, right? Just D. But unfortunately, the overall cumulative, they get an F. I cannot accept 1-10, and I will not accept 1-7 in conference play. Once again, it was the excuses of why you can't do this and why you can't do that. It's on you, Scotty.
The one thing about this student is they're a legacy student. You know what I'm saying? They're a legacy student. They got here off the previous accomplishments of their parents. And they're still talking about them. They're still talking about, what their dad did and what their mom did and how they were this and how they were that. And I'm looking at these grades and I'm like, well, how are you? You know what I'm saying? What are you doing currently? And I'm just not seeing the effort put forth to be great, right? I'm just not seeing the effort to be. Now, they got some bright spots. A player on there got an FCS All-American award. But, I need more. I need to see more. I need to get more. And I'm just curious to see where this goes from here. But once again, it's nothing new for them. I'll see them again next year. And they know the process. So we'll be here next year.
This that students you do not ask to read aloud in class. You don't allow them to read out loud. It'll be disruptive because the rest of the class are gonna bust out laughing, and it'll take you 10 minutes to get the class back in order. So you just kind of set them to the side and you hand them their paper folded up. Show me how you hand them that paper. Oh, they know that also well. Oh, they know that also well.
Can you complete this on your? Oh man, good old Huntsville.
I want to change my grade, but at the same time, it was something about Alabama A&M. But don't think because you see that C and D, because that means CDs. All right. Don't think you gonna get by A&M. You went 5-6, 3-5 in conference play. Now, I was on you all season. I talked about you bad, called you a glorified Division II school, because I'm looking at you and I'm just trying to figure out, why are you walking in class so bougie every day like I'm supposed to know who you are, like you of royalty? Who are you? I've been trying to figure that out all year. Who the hell do they think they are every time they walk into this class? And looking at me up and down. Come in with food, don't offer nobody nothing. Offensively rushed for 1,689 yards. They passed for 2,432 yards. They put up 41 touchdowns. That's why I was kind of at that C. I mean, it found ways to get into the end zone. It just wasn't when it mattered, right? That's why I gave them a glorified Division II school. It was against opponents that it wasn't when it mattered, right? What'd you do against FAMU? What'd you do against Bama State? Huh? What did you do against Jackson State? You didn't score when it mattered. Defensively, you gave up 1,563 rushing yards to 2,248 passing yards, 35 total touchdowns on the season. I gave you a D defensively. Overall, even though you see that C and that D, you don't pass this class. You get a 60. I cannot let you go on knowing that you were lackluster with 5 and 6, 3 and 5 in conference play. So I have to see you again next semester with that D.
Listen, the tough thing about this student was they keep telling me how they passed their last class. And I'm like, that was an intro class. It was an intro class. Like, an intro class is just to help you get ready for one-on-one and what you still talking about how you pass summer intro. What no. We've elevated the class, we've elevated the work. Now you got to show me that you can produce. And in the situation with this, the one thing I couldn't stand about this student is the glorified toxicity that they brought in my classroom. They starting drama, they starting mess, they bickering, they bantering. I'm just like, listen, take that somewhere else. All right, this is a place of structure and order, which they have none.
An educational place, a place for education, a learning center, success.
And they took it as a joke. So at the end of the day, offensively they couldn't get it together. Defensively they couldn't get it together. And I'm not going to give you onesies and twosies for showing me an output or this game you decide to play and this game you decide to no. What did you do cumulative throughout the season? You didn't do shit. That's why you got a D. So, A&M, I'll see you again in summer classes. Simple. All righty.
Bama State, you got me. You started out strong on me. You slapped that first paper down the first game of the season. I looked and I was like, who the hell is this? It's not the Bama State that they was telling me about from the previous teacher, right? But then as I looked through the season, I saw the quarterback issues. I saw the running game issues. And I thought you was going to be able to run the ball a lot better than what you did. 7-4 on the season, 5-3. You rushed for 1,221 yards, one of the fewest rushing yards in the conference. You passed for 2,078 yards, but you didn't get into the end zone much. Only 25 total touchdowns. But defensively, I was impressed. Very impressed. You held opponents to only 1,103 rushing yards on the entire season, and you did not give up 2,000 yards passing on the season, as you gave up 1,998 yards passing right there. And guess what? You held opponents to a staggering, listen to me now, a staggering, only 18 touchdowns, Scotty, on the season. That's the fewest touchdowns given up by any defense in the entire conference. That's the fewest touchdowns given up by any defense in black college football, besides besides Morgan State. But because of that, I gave them a B. Bama State, I was impressed with you. Better than your cousin at Alabama A&M. I thought you were the smarter of the cousins. I looked at y'all. They said Alabama. I said, what the hell? They from Alabama. I heard it in the act. I said, damn, Alabama, we're going to have to deal with them. But you did all right, Bama. You did all right. And for that, you passed. I give you a C overall. That D and that B, you get a C. But you impressed me. But you need to work on that offense. You need to work on your quarterback position. You need to work on your O-line. And you for damn sure need to figure out what can you do to run the ball.
How can they lead multiple categories defensively and come out with a B? Noted. Let me say this. Defensively, Alabama State was one of my brightest students. Very shockingly, I didn't see this. I didn't see it going that way early. But as the season went along, they just got better and better and better at the work. And I said, wow, this student really has something. Now, offensively, I knew that they could be in a little rough patch, but I like how the fact that once they found what worked, they stuck with it and they ran the table. I just think that losing Keyshawn Johnson is going to be a little hindrance, but I do think putting your money on Damon and riding with Damon was a smart move. And this student has a very, very bright upside if they can continue to build that. So I'm going to go see offensively because later half of the season, they didn't score a lot of points, but I can respect the team that knows who they are. And Alabama State knows who they are as a student. Defensively, we know what they're going to bring defensively. So definitely give them a high B, 85, 86. Very, very solid team. Very, very solid student. Curious to see what that looks like next year. All righty. From the Delta. No, not Delta. From the SIP.
They in the Delta. Well, they on that corner of it. Jackson State. Hey, everybody was telling me all season, man, you need to look out for this student, man. This dude, this place right here, Jackson State, is so great. They have listen, everything about them. I'm just expecting this excellent student to walk in through the door and to blow me away. Wow me. Right? The wow factor. I'm looking for all A's across the board. Right? Last year I saw them walking down the hall. They was all blinged out, hanging out with the cool kids in the parking lot, pulling up in the Mercedes and the Range Rovers and the Rolls Royces. Even had their own seats at lunch. They was red, sitting in the red seats. I said, you know what? They look like they got it going on. And I thought that same hype and that same intensity was going to come into this season. Didn't quite do it. I will say this. I was impressed early on with the run game of a guy by the name of Herb Mulligan. Total offense in terms of rushing, 1,778 rushing yards. Started out with a quarterback, made a quarterback change throughout the season. Ended up passing for 2,505 yards, 38 total touchdowns. Defensively, 1,633 rushing yards, giving up to 2,061 yards, passing, giving up to 36 total touchdowns. 74, 5, and 3, modest. For that, I give them a C overall, and it may be C+. I thought they were right there, and I give them that, C+.
You know what? When I start my class, I always tell my class, look at my class as a marathon, not a sprint. And this student didn't quite understand that understanding of what I meant by marathon and sprint because they came out the gate fast, right? Came out the gate fast, talking fast. Teacher, I can do this. Teacher, I can do that. Teacher, I got this. Teacher, I got that. Trying to be the teacher's pet. And I'm trying to explain to the student every week that this class is a marathon. And as they went through the season, they started to understand what I meant by it's a marathon. Running back goes down, Quarterback's not what they thought he was. Offense is not what they thought it was going to look like. Defense not holding up like they thought it would. And I just kept trying to let them understand that this is a marathon, not a sprint. And how you end the marathon with a loss to your rival, it's not in the best attributes of a top student. So C-, everything this student did was just average work. It wasn't anything spectacular, wasn't anything to write home about, wasn't anything to give a sticker out. It was just like, you're just doing enough to get by. You think you're doing more, but you're really just doing enough to get by. So C- is what comes into my place when I think about this team and what they portrayed over the weeks of my class. C- at best. All righty. Last but not least.
I'm so proud of this one right here. Look, bright and shining star. That is what you are. That's this one right here. Look, so happy. Look at them. They so happy too. Look at the teeth they show when they smile. You see that smile? Them big old teeth, them fangs in the front. The Rattlers are FAMU. Come on now. Great student. Awesome job. Great parents at home. I'm talking about show up. They talk to me. They love to figure out what's going on in class. They always following up with the homework. You can't ask for a better stability in the home than what FAMU has, right? 12-1 overall, 8-0 in conference play. And are you talking about consistent? That's what I'm saying. The home is structured. That's mother and father is there, right? Grandmother and granddad is there, right? They go to church on Sundays. They go to Bible study on Wednesdays. They eat dinner together at the table. They talk about how their day went. Hey, so how was your day? They do it all together. You can't ask for that any better. And I love it. Offensively, they rushed for 1,795 yards, passed for 375 passing yards for a total of 46 touchdowns on the season. And defensively, very impressive. Only giving up 1,240 rushing yards on the season, giving up 2,154 passing yards, but only a modest, very low number, 25 passing touchdowns. 25 total defensive touchdowns. Black College National Champion, won every game that mattered, took care of business at the SWAC Championship, took care of business at the Florida Classic, took care of business in Baton Rouge against Southern, took care of business against Jackson State at the Orange Blossom Classic, and took care of business against Howard. That's how you pass your test. No matter what the test is, they were right there ready to take it. They struggled a little bit against South Florida, but hey, that was the hardest test of the year, and they still gave effort. But every other test that came in that way, they aced it. They stepped up to the plate. They went home and studied, did their homework, and they came back and got away with a W. And because of that, they're the Black College National Champions. They're the Celebration Bowls champions. And they are undefeated in conference play. And goddamn it, I'm scared of them, right? I am scared of them because this is a student that's a scholar. And I don't know. The sky's the limit for this student, so I'll leave it right there. This is the student everybody wants to model themselves out. This is when I asked Mississippi Valley to read, and Valley messed up. I said, fam, you should show them how to read. Show them how to read, fam, because Valley clearly don't know how to read. UAPB clearly don't know how to read. But Valley,
let me say, the one thing I love about this student is even with the parents having the expectations for this student, the student showed up. The student lived up to the expectation, right? The parents walked him in the first day and said, hey, this is going to be your best student. He's going to sit in the front of the class. He's going to raise his hands. He's going to ask the questions. He's going to be your best student. And I don't like when parents do that and they put their kids on Front Street like that. But that kid lived up to everything the parents said they were was going to do. And for that, I have to respect that on attributes. But at the end of the day, student did all the work. Came in to ask for extra credit. Wanted to know what else they could do to improve their grade. It was a model student the whole year. Even when I thought I was putting too much on them, they still came back and made sure they did it the right way and completed it, turned it in on time. Absolutely wonderful student, superstar student. And what I would like to see from the other students in class is that they took notes on how this student prepared, how this student came ready to work every day, and how this student represented the class when they had to go and perform somewhere else.
See, this is the type of student everybody else in the class hate on when we start to rave about them, right? Everybody like, damn, you always talking about FAMU. Well, did you make a higher test score than FAMU? I'm handing it to you. I'm handing FAMU paper so everybody can see. Just like that. How the other ones getting their paper? Them your haters. Them your haters. And FAMU, let your haters be your motivators. You know, class participation points, always raising the hand, always being a part. Signing the roll, first name on the roll. Going up to the board, I always want to go to the board. Homework, always on time. Class submission online, I never fails that I know I can see FAMU on it. So it does not matter. I don't care how y'all feel. They did it. And was it impressive? Very much so. So you can hate all you want. That's typically what folks do when somebody excelling. Call them the nerd, the geek, all you want. It does not matter. They're going to be successful. You talking about folks coming from Vanderbilt?
They're going somewhere. They're going somewhere.
They're going somewhere. Jeremy Musa coming from Vanderbilt? Come on now. Prestige. You left one prestige to another one.
#1 public HBCU. Anyway, that was our time at the Outspoken College. We want to thank all the graduates, all the attendees. We appreciate your time. All the kids that were not able to walk across the stage, we will see you in summer school. Make sure you sign up, get there early for the professors that you want. Preferably, you probably won't be because Professor Perry grade too hard. But we thank you. Preferably. All right, Pete, last thing before we get up out of here, man. What you got?
Man, happy holidays to everybody. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. I think this is going to be it for the year for us, huh?
This might be it, man. Yeah, it's looking like that.
It's been a great season, man. We started this thing back in July, coming into August, September, October, November. Here we are, December. Football season is over with for us. And I want to look, you know, all jokes aside, man, I want to thank everybody for the support. This has truly been an amazing opportunity. Thank you guys for the support. I was telling Scotty the other day, as I went through the season, normally I'm a shit talker, right? And especially against opposing teams, but it was so much love throughout the year. Right when I was about to open my mouth and shit talk, somebody be like, Perry, man, I love what you're doing. And then here I go having to be this nice guy, right, man? How y'all doing? Thank you. How y'all, you know, y'all need anything? And because of that, it humbled me a lot. And for a lot of people, I hope you realize as much as I love Southern, at the end of the day, I give credit where credit's due. I talk my shit because that's what we do. I'm not going to beat your school up, but it's just certain schools I'm going to talk my shit to, right? It is what it is, Alabama A&M, Jackson State. You know, it is what it is. But at the end of the day, I appreciate you guys because, you know, you could be doing a lot of other things each and every Monday. And I looked at the numbers. You guys tune in and you watch us. And most importantly, man, it's been the words of encouragement. It's been the people that saying from referees at a game to people from bands, from people just walking and tailgating, hanging out, saying, man, I love what you and Scotty do. So, man, I just want to say now that we reached the end, I appreciate that. And I really do mean that. And I love y'all for that. I appreciate the support. And, you know, I thank you, Scotty, for the opportunity of being able to do this, man. It's been a long season, man. We've been doing this for quite some time. The months seem like they flew by. But
no, they definitely did.
It did, man. But I'm just thankful to be able to do this, man, and to do what we love. I love talking about HBCUs. I love to talk about football and sports. And this is a platform where I'm able to do it, where people can listen. And I appreciate you guys for listening, because you could be doing, like I said before, a lot of other things. Thank you to all the players and the coaches and everybody else with the support, and to everybody that subscribe and tune in and comment. Whether I like your comments or not, it don't matter. I just thank you for paying attention. So thank you.
Hey, man, that's a real one. Listen, I appreciate my guy Perry, as always, man, coming on here every Monday, on time, late on time. You know what I'm saying? We make it happen. I appreciate him for, because listen, let me just say this. It's not easy standing with me in a lot of spaces. I just want to make that very clear. You can take it as you want to, but it's not easy standing with me and my platform, and because you understand what you automatically are saying no to, or what people are taking you saying no to when you partner with me or do something with me. So I appreciate Perry for having to, stick through that and work with me on that. I appreciate all you guys as always, man. I wish nothing but the best for any of you guys. That's for the Scout. That's for Kickstand. That's for anybody. I hope we all are blessed. I hope we all have a great Merry Christmas. I know the holidays can be tough for a lot of people when you lose special loved ones and things like that. So I just wish and pray that you guys stay happy, stay humble, stay motivated, and in 2024 be the best year yet for all y'all. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Miss Sykes for her birthday. Shout out to Sagittarius, even though we don't know what that is technically. But
and I hope next time y'all see me, somebody say, "I've been looking for you, nigga." That's what I hope they say. Because it'll be 2024. So I hope y'all be looking for me, because I'm going to be looking for y'all, okay?
Awesome. Will y'all do women's basketball? I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm not gonna lie to you. I don't know. When conference play come around, then I might talk about a little bit women's basketball. But all this stuff going on right now, not really. It's some other people that can do that for you. But guys, listen, we've been doing this for a long time, 3 hours and 25 minutes. I appreciate you all. Make sure you like the stream, subscribe. Listen, until next time. And if I don't see you until 2024, y'all be blessed. You know what I'm going to do. I'm going to holler. God bless.